Go for it.
All right. So, who's got the recap for me?
Faye's missing.
Persephone does.
Some evil.
We already knew that. That was from the last one.
Yeah, I need to make me sort of the bombs.
I got
Coffee.
Oh.
Okay,
You got coffee?
so
Yeah.
last time we started with William saying that it had been a week. Vulcan was training under Tattersail and the Bridge Burners, aka the Cosra Mages. He gets a tattoo over his blind eye tattoo. He now has abjuration power. Unbeknownst to the party, Persephone is also training with some people. Faye is out helping figure out where we are with the Elven Scouts. Lucy was helping and working with the citizens and followed by her trunk. Everybody gained 50 gold. The camp was on rations and there was mess tents and a temporary settlement. Then we actually started our adventure, and Vulcan announces completion of his training with Barrel of Ale. Faye leads everyone down into a cavern and attacks.
You mean not Faye?
Faye turns out to be a gray slod. And there's Minari, a gnome rogue. Helps us fight the battle. Minari stays invisible. Persephone was hit hard by the end of the battle, she had 18 hit points.
Oh, whoa.
Taken.
Okay.
And then
cool.
Vulcan was hit with fear from the gray slod. Persephone slays the gray slod. Whoop whoop. Which you're really proud of. All meet back at camp. Captain Ilian goes to tell Commander Coltane about missing refugees and missing Faye, so there's search parties. The party interrogates Minari. The party discusses whether to allow Minari to join/hang around. Minari rifles through their stuff, or tries to spy on their conversation, but Vulcan senses her. Ahem.
That's exactly what he did.
And they decide she can hang around, but no stealing from the camp. And rest.
And a rest.
Yes.
And a drink.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
Who is that?
Oh,
Ours? Okay. Those babies, man, I can't tell their voices apart over the monitor, I swear. And now that Amberly
Yeah,
says mama, too.
You have your keys? Okay.
Yes.
Sure.
So Amberly's like,
Mommy! Mommy! No.
Yeah.
so funny.
Fierce girl. That was a good recap. You take good notes.
Thanks!
You're probably great in school. Jeez.
I was great in school.
Yeah, I bet. What?
4.0.
Nice. What'd you get your bachelor's in?
English.
That's surprising.
Do you speak English?
I'm kidding. When are we gonna do a book club podcast? I had this great idea, Aaron. I had this great idea where instead of reading a book and then talking about it, we literally sit down for a half hour and read a book out loud to each other and then discuss the passage.
Oh, that sounds terrible. I mean, I like that discussing of the passage. I just don't like the reading to each other.
But one of the things that Aaron and I never do is because we're always like, but then we have to like actually read another book. It's another book requirement I have to be reading.
You used to read to me in bed.
I read to you in bed just a couple of days ago,
Yes,
or like
you
last
did.
week.
I mean, we used to do it by the morning when we were,
Yeah, you always fall asleep.
Old house.
You
Yeah,
just say be a few minutes.
yeah, I think so. But that's what we could do, Aaron. We could like do the whatever podcast you guys listen to with the old books, and then at the end we like
Classical
discuss it.
tales.
Yeah, classical tales or classic tales, and
I'm
then we
trying to
like
get into
discuss
the
it.
most recent story.
Which one was it?
it's the mystery with the 4 people.
I need to like start over.
It's not super good so far. I know we were looking to complete 5 minutes early, but 5 minutes late instead.
Well, we kind of did. We went over the
Yeah, we started 5 minutes early, caught
I
up,
think we still
and
get
then
credit.
we're 5 minutes late, and now we're starting at 9 o'clock if you're going retroactively. It's just
Okay, sure.
We're okay.
so. Anybody have any questions about what happened? Okay, so do you remember last week? I'm sure Aaron Hall remembers some of it.
What do you mean?
Last
I
week?
just read it out.
No, last week when everybody was drunk and we played for like 5 minutes.
Oh, yes, I do.
Okay,
I actually don't.
Oh wow, I was.
I know. You two were...
Did we do anything?
No.
Uh-oh.
But I did give you guys some information. I'll give it to you again because not everybody remembers.
For like 5 seconds.
Yeah, we literally
Well,
played...
because I sang a song.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
Go ahead
Wait,
and...
I do remember you singing.
I
was
remember
awake
that
for
too.
I woke up, heard you sing, and I went back to bed.
I love it. I don't know what to reward you with. Give yourself 10 gold. I don't know.
Okay.
No, she was singing to Sue.
Yeah.
I know, and people gave her money as she walked by. I don't know. Just a.
Okay.
We don't do experience, otherwise I'd give you that. You know what? I'll give you inspiration.
Woo!
You get inspiration. You can use
You inspired yourself?
a
D4?
D4 for any roll that you choose.
Is that right?
Is that what
Yeah.
they're calling it
And you add
nowadays?
you add one D4.
Yay.
Mm-hmm. So at any time you can just be like, I want to roll a D4 as well and use my inspiration for whatever.
Okay. But just the one time.
Just the one time. Just one bit of inspiration.
Unless
we really need
Can
to
she
make
inspire herself?
Nope.
Oh.
Well,
Well, when are we gonna do
I don't
that?
think so.
I don't think so.
I wouldn't let her.
Okay.
She'd be like, I'm inspired. I'd be like, cool. Let's get fired up. All right, person.
How long does the inspiration last? Like, if she Persephone inspires me, how long do I have that inspiration?
I don't know that there's a limit. Is there a limit on that? There's a number of times you can do it per day, but I don't know how long before it goes bad, or like if it expires. Maybe.
Times once per day plus charisma modifier for 10 minutes.
So you have it for 10 minutes. So in combat, you can have it for 10 minutes, or you can have it for your function for 10 minutes, and she can do it only a certain amount of times per day. That makes more sense.
That seems less practical.
Seems a lot. It seems way more balanced than having it infinitely, or even for like 8 hours.
That's true.
Like you go to sleep inspired, and then you wake up and you still have that inspiration for 10 minutes. That seems nuts.
Okay.
So, the news that you guys had, the reason the camp was celebrating, and the reason why Persephone had to calm people down, is because you guys found out where you are. Well, sort of. Your scouts located the Great Stone Road to the south of you. 5 days travel to the south.
Yes, it is.
It has yet to be determined where along the Great Stone Road you are, but the Great Stone Road is an absolutely gigantic continent-spanning road that has magical properties, and it is very well known, it is very famous, and you will not be lost for very long. It's very easy to travel along the road, and it is safe to travel along the road.
I was going to say, are there pyramids?
So some of the magical properties, and you all know this because you are all very aware of this, it's like one of the few great mysteries of the world. The Great Stone Road is 11,080 miles. It is huge. That's half the circumference of Earth. And it spans from 3/4 of the continent. So the continent is large. It is made of 20-foot long and 10-foot wide stone blocks that are end to end in a straight line, slightly curved all the way across the continent. It has a bunch of magical properties like it can't be destroyed, it can't be moved. If you try to dig underneath of it, when you look away and look back, the dirt has just been replaced. You can't, it has no, it is not affected by magic in any way. Some of the more interesting things about it, the big two, are you cannot hurt anybody. No combat is allowed on the Great Stone Road. If you go to attack somebody, if you swing your sword at them, you will remember swinging your sword, but then have not, and nobody else will remember you swinging your sword either. It's like that with everything, everyone. You can restrain people, you can grab people, you can put them in bars or put them in handcuffs, anything like that. You can do like a grapple, but you cannot like aim to hurt somebody mortally. And you can't like punch. You can't do anything with pugilistic. Just like remove people. So it's safe from that, but also if you shot an arrow from off of the Great Stone Road onto the Great Stone Road, when it enters the area above the road, it will divert so that it will not hit a creature on the road or past the road. So it will, even if you're trying to shoot across the road, it will divert it. So, and that's anywhere above the road. Magic that is sent to harm will do the same thing. It'll just divert. It won't stop. It doesn't negate magic. It's not an anti-magic field. It just will divert the magic so nobody can be hurt.
Does it ricochet off of it then?
It sort of ricochets off of it, but sometimes it'll send like arrows straight up in the air until they
So it
lose
makes me
their
think of Wax's bubble.
Yeah, very much like that.
Okay.
Except for that you can't be hurt by anything shot through the field.
Right.
The other thing, the other big magical property, is that whatever step you take on the Great Stone Road is doubled. Your speed is doubled. So if it's 5 weeks to the capital or 10 weeks to the capital or wherever, it only takes 5 weeks. It takes half the time to travel anywhere. So you take one step, it counts as 2. People walking alongside you on the road don't perceive you traveling faster, but when they turn away and look back, you are twice as far ahead as they are. It's very uncanny.
So it's like walking on one of those things at the airport.
Like a treadmill, yeah. Like a slide walk.
Like a slide walk.
And it's unobservable, but it's always present. So you can outpace somebody walking alongside the road. There's a couple of minor magical properties, like nothing can block the road is the rule, which means that if you have a cart that is like almost completely broken, you can walk from one end to the other, and as long as you don't take the cart off the road, it will never break. It can be like its wheel can be like wobbling back and forth, very obviously about to break, but because it's on the road, it never ever will.
Okay.
It can't obstruct the road. You have to camp off of it.
Oh,
If you try to-
have to leave the road if
to
you're
camp.
traveling.
Mm-hmm.
And if you fall asleep.
And if you fall asleep, you will be moved to being off the road, unobserved.
Weird.
Yes.
Okay.
The other thing is that within 10 feet on either side of the road, nothing can stay there for any period of time that is higher than 1 foot. So if you have a boulder that's 2 feet high that you place 5 feet away from the road, when nobody's looking, the boulder will suddenly be
Somewhere else.
10 feet away at the edge. So there's like an accumulation of stuff. Grass will only grow up to 1 foot on the
What's the
side of the
rule?
road.
For that one? What?
Nothing can exist on
Yeah,
either side of the road
permanence.
for a long period of time that's more than 1 foot tall. You can camp there. You can stay there. You can hang out and set a fire and all that stuff. It's things that are like immovable, things that aren't staying there. But if you set up a camp and you stay there for more than a certain amount of time, it's indeterminate.
Mm-hmm.
It moves you to the side of the road. Your whole campment, you'll wake up and you'll be off the side of the road.
Okay.
It's pretty interesting. The Great Stone Road is famous.
Okay.
It's wildly
Naturally.
famous. It's, yes. The story behind it is that,
Supernaturally.
right, a god walked across the continent in unknown eras past and dragged his club through the ground as he walked. And as he did, the Great Stone Road grew up behind him. Even the gods aren't sure if that story is true. That's how old this story is. Okay, so this camp is just settling down after a long night of celebration. Everybody's pretty drunk. You guys are striking camp at noon
The next day?
the next day. And that's where we're going to pick up. What do you get? You guys are at your camp.
Where was the last place that Faye was seen?
It's a great question.
Where was who was with Faye as far as the scouts? Do I know?
I don't know. Do you?
Sure. If not, I'm
Did
going to
anybody
ask.
make breakfast? Because I'm kind of hungry.
Well, there's a pot and pan. Sorry.
I'm just gonna wake up. And I'm just gonna go hit and trying to figure out what happened to Faye now.
Aren't there search parties? Should we join a search party?
I don't think there's a search party.
Captain
Normally.
Alien said that they would form some.
There's also some refugees that are missing.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So perhaps we could go talk
Let's go
to
talk to him.
Coltane.
Okay.
Alright,
What are you guys doing?
I'm going to talk to Colton with you.
And Harry.
Do I have to?
No, stay behind.
Will you make breakfast?
You,
Whatever you want.
you talked me into it. You guys drive a hard bargain.
She says, trailing along behind. So you guys walk through the camp. It's pretty quiet. People partied until dawn, and people are kind of lying around in drunken stupors, and there's campfires burning low.
Lightweights.
There's debris kind of everywhere. I don't know about lightweights,
You're
but
lucky I'm not dragging behind.
the only people who don't seem that they are too worse for the wear are the guards who are patrolling about and keeping an eye on things. There are some inside the camp, lesser, smaller units, and then there are more along the edges of the camp that are sort of watching for trouble and scouting, making sure nobody's sneaking
Are
up.
they dragonborn?
Mostly, there's a lot of orcs. But there's mostly at this point are dragging one. It looks like the orcs maybe took the earlier shift. You guys would know this being part of the camp, keeping people calm. And there's not too many soldiers compared to how many people there are, so it's quite a large area. You guys are a single day away from the temple district, so
I'm gonna walk up to the guards and say in Draconic, I'm here to talk to Cotain, good sirs.
okay. So everybody knows who you guys are, and they like nod you through, and they just like
That was my way of saying hi.
they like nod to you and let you walk on by. You guys are allowed to access the command center as much as you guys like.
I figured.
I'm with them.
They kind of like look at you, and they're kind of like, okay.
No, really.
They didn't need convincing.
I'm Minari. Told ya. She's like our kid sister.
Just like our
Told
kids.
ya.
Oh my gosh,
yeah.
what was that? I am not a nerd. Have you guys got there in Stranger Things yet?
No.
Okay.
No.
We haven't watched
I
it.
remember.
Lucas's little sister.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Nerd.
So
love her.
funny. This is a capitalist economy, so if you want my services, you better pay. I was like,
She's so friggin' annoying.
I love her. She's amazing.
Ice cream shop?
Yeah.
She's
We
so
were totally
funny.
at an ice cream shop yesterday and I was asking for Sam.
Oh. Yeah.
I was a little bit nicer.
Mm.
I love her.
Is Cotain like and out of his?
Coltane is not in his command tent at this point.
Oh. I doubt he was drinking.
I'm sure he was a little. I'm gonna ask the guards if they've seen Cotain, seen him this morning.
You get the answer that he was seen getting up and heading to the washing stations, but they haven't seen him return yet.
Okay.
Is washing stations like baths?
Like the bathrooms and like the latrines and like the shower, and there's like magically imbued water that keeps it clean.
Not
So-
all of us can pee outside.
Well, you guys, I mean, it is outside. The latrines are like pits that are dug outside camp, so like, you know, keeping it away from water sources and things. You know, they don't want to poison the land, but they have 30,000 refugees that need to take dumps, and it's important to make sure that you do it right.
I'm glad we had this talk.
I mean, it's a really big deal when you're talking about pestilence and disease and things. And it's a military camp, so they at least have structure enough to
My hair
set
hurts
the
today,
latrines
Heather.
up. It won't be sustainable to stay anywhere like that for a long period of time.
And Leon
But-
was like jumping. I was like, oh, buddy.
Um.
I'm gonna grab
Is
the draw.
there a chair in there?
Yeah, it's like a pavilion, like an open tent, and there are desks and tables and chairs for people to sit around and mats that are rolled up and put away to keep them from getting damp in the evening dew. Where is she going? Why'd she leave the door open? My party isn't even at the table. Woman! No, Hannah, you're fine. You're still here listening.
I'm going to.
What is she doing?
I don't know.
No idea. I'm going to.
It's probably not important. It's probably fine. What are you doing?
I'm going to sit down in the chair and start reading the book. One of the
Okay.
books.
Is it one of your study books?
Yes.
Okay, so Valken just like walks in and asks about it. He sits down, grabs a book. What do you guys want to do? Persephone, Minari, Lucy? I'm not ashamed.
Did you have a French
Are we in the command?
I was having a low.
Yes, we're in the command
I don't
chair.
care. I just have to give you a bed.
Also,
Yeah. Okay. I guess we're just gonna wait for him for a little bit. It is still early, right?
No, it's noon.
Oh, it's noon, but everybody's up.
No, it's early. It's
Oh.
about an hour after
we're
dawn.
gonna be.
Oh, okay.
But you guys are
Yeah.
breaking camp at about noon.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Oh, well, he's not here.
No, he is not.
I'm waiting. I'm good with my book.
I just
You
want to
got
find
me up
out
at
about
5
that.
in the morning to.
I didn't wake you up.
You said
It's
you were
more like
hungry.
7?
Fine. Maybe we'll just go back to camp for a minute, or look for Captain Ilian. Maybe she knows what's become of the search parties.
I'm sorry, what was that? I couldn't hear you.
Well, you should clean your ears out. They're full of bugs.
Cool. He'll be here in a minute.
So as you guys are standing there talking and debating what to do, a elven scout comes like bobbing through the camp with her bow, and she runs up to the Dragonborn, and the Dragonborn immediately like at the edge of the camp, and they immediately like turn and begin like rousing some of their others.
Okay, I'm standing up and I'm.
Things are happening.
I cast invisibility.
Really? You're using the spell slot already?
No.
Oh.
Are you actually casting invisibility?
I don't know.
They're not like.
Okay, I'm gonna run over to where all the commotion is.
I'm gonna put my book away and start walking that way.
Okay.
My ears are perked.
So you guys head over towards the direction. One of the Dragonborn is heading right for the command tent, and he has an envelope that it was from the scout, and it's addressed to Coltane. You see it; he's like holding it as he walks up.
Okay,
it's like
so we're in the right place.
very obvious. Yeah.
I'm gonna take it from him.
That's kind of rude.
Mate.
Okay, you want to just grab it?
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead and roll a sleight of hand check. See how you grab it out of his hand. Short one.
9
plus. Where's sleight of hands? I actually don't know. A whole 10.
Okay. Yeah. No. You like go to reach for it, and he like pulls it back, and he's just like, he just like kind of glares at you and like looks, and he says, "This is for the Lord Coltane himself."
I want to use my mage hand and get it.
No.
You can't steal it from him when he's holding it.
Go ahead and.
You try.
She can. That's like her thing. Go ahead and roll your sleight of hand check and see if you can do it.
Oh crap.
19.
Plus what?
30.
30 what?
I'm glad that you rolled with disadvantage. 'Cause
30.
he got an 11 and a natural 20. So, so as you like lift it up and snatch it away, and he's speaking, and the envelope just plucks out of your hand and is raised, and he like looks around, and he just like glares at you, Valken, and he just like,
Don't look at me. I really wanted it.
So did any of the rest of us, do we know who took it at this point? Can we see the...
We suspect.
no, it's
invisible.
It's an invisible
Okay.
mage hand.
But we've seen her do it before.
So you
we
see me
probably-
run off.
I
And
suspect.
so I'm just
Okay.
like maneuvering. Hand it over.
Wow.
So Lucy, you take this letter and you look at it, and it is like
This tiny gnome.
it is like this thick parchment. It's got a magical enchantment on it to like reduce dampness. It's a very low grade magic. It's like alchemically imbued to resist wet and cold and mud.
Well, I'm not gonna lick it.
So are you going to give it back to the commander, or are you going to take it to go?
Yeah, I'll give it back to you.
So you
And say,
Really?
we're gonna follow
Hey! You wanted to read it.
It's not for me.
the Dragonborn takes the letter back, and he like glares around at you, and he kind of like smirks a little bit, and he's just like ugh.
You guys.
What have you discovered?
What's it say?
What have you discovered?
And he like puts it in like his like inner coat and like puts it there, and he's like, "This is a message for the commander. It is a report from one of our outward scouts. It seems that our camp was displaced intentionally." And he like looks around. He's a little unsure about it, and he looks back and he's, "I'm just a soldier, and I don't know the specifics of the magics, but it seems that there was another occupying force in the spot that the Archdrake intended for us."
You mean somebody got into our spot first?
Yes, that is what I mean.
Well, maybe our name wasn't on it.
Well, we'll be following you to talk to Coltane.
The commander shall be returning, I believe, soon. We have sent guards to collect him from his morning routines.
Alright.
And he stands there. He's like at attention with like his glaive.
Great.
I'm going to start walking back to the Coltane's tent.
We are we? Did we leave it?
We're in the entrance of
We
it.
like went off to
no,
where the thing was
shake.
going,
Okay.
and then the guy came. So I'm just walking back to the tent.
Okay.
I'm gonna stay there with the guard and ask if they've heard anything about. Have you heard anything about the search parties for the missing people?
There are some search parties. Unfortunately, it seems that there are only maybe a dozen or 2 dozen refugees that are missing. So it has not been a major priority. There are some that are leaving by will. We cannot hunt down all of them. Some of them may be removing themselves by force, but at this point, We just don't know.
Yeah.
It is more of a precaution to keep anybody from being taken by force than it is a search party to find
But I think it
others
needs
who
more
have
flavor.
left the encampment.
Carrot or something.
Thank you. Juice.
Cool. I missed what you said. So bad.
Me too. It's kind of hard to focus right now. Sorry.
What are you all doing?
You can't hear me from over here.
Trying to get my brain back on.
Oh, he was making noise and Hannah out there. I was like, what do you mean all? It's just Hannah.
Minari's having breakfast. She was
What-
hungry.
Felt like a chicken line.
What are you eating? Okay.
Minari just has food suddenly. I love it.
Well,
Mage
she
hand.
would.
I would never steal.
There's like a mess tent right around the corner.
Yeah.
Reminds me. Didn't we tell you no stealing in the camp?
There's like a mess tent here with like.
That's not what I'm talking about.
I was being helpful.
Uh-huh.
He almost did it.
We didn't ask him not to steal.
I wasn't stealing. I just wanted it. I thought he would
wasn't
hand it to
stealing
you.
I just wanted
You don't
it.
understand. I want it more
I
than
wanted
he
it
does.
more. So you beat me to it.
Sorry, I shouldn't speak for your
I
characters.
gave it back. I was
You
trying to
did.
be helpful. I really want to be part of your game.
Just remember
Okay, so-
our deal.
Then mellow out. Chill. 12-year-old.
So you guys are chatting with the guard, and
Does he know what search party they was with yesterday?
he's not aware.
Okay.
Specifics. So you guys are chatting amongst each other, and like sort of the girls are chastising Minari while Valken is chatting with the guard. And after a few minutes,
Sorry. Lucy's not very sympathetic. She didn't get to have a childhood.
True.
She's like, no mischief.
So Coltane comes marching back into camp. He is well dressed. He's like in his military commanding garb, and he is well shaven. He looks put together, and he comes marching into camp. And the guards just salute him, and the guard with the letter extends it out, and a letter for you, Lord. And he just like walks by and like snatches it out and like salutes him, and he like opens it up, and he like walks right past you guys, and he like glances at you, and then like keeps reading like. You guys aren't an uncommon sight. You know, you kind of work for him at this point, and you guys are keeping things sort of in order and controlled. So he's not.
I'm walking behind him.
Yeah, okay.
I'm just walking behind him.
He lets you. He doesn't mind. He doesn't mind that you're.
I followed him into the tent with him.
Yeah, I'm assuming that Coltrane sees us and that we're sticking with him, basically.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you guys follow him into the tent, and he reads quietly. He mostly just ignores you guys as you guys stand up at the pavilion. And a couple of aides come rushing over. They grab their clipboards and they start working and stuff. And after a minute or two, he sets the letter down, and he like sits down in a chair, and he like looks over his map. He doesn't say anything to you guys. He just like ignoring you.
Do you need anything?
I
Is he sitting at a
need
table?
many things, dwarf. Do you have something that you want to offer?
I don't know what problems you have, so I don't know what to offer.
My problems are innumerable.
How about a top 5 list?
Falcon.
If you are seeking to inquire about my latest problem, he like gestures towards the letter. It seems as though there is a military force in the location that the Archdrake sought to land us.
Like an army?
Indeed.
Of what?
Well, he lifts it up, he picks it up, and he like looks at it. He like sort of like flicks through the paper, and he says, "Lots and lots of Aturan soldiers."
Are they good guys or bad guys?
Is
He looks at
like
you
a
and-
or is that a question?
I was gonna say.
That's what I was asking. Colton.
He looks at you and the Aturans are. Who are you, child?
I'm with them. They're my people.
Is she with you? I see.
For the time being.
A temporary alliance.
Sometimes it's better to have people closer than further away.
If you know what I mean.
I see. Well, what may I address you as? No.
Minari.
Minari. Yes, I see.
Minari.
Well, Minari, I am unsure if this is a friendly or unfriendly force, but they do seem to be mobilized for war.
So clues would indicate. Well, so what do we do now?
What do we do now? That, indeed, is my problem.
What are the options?
As in, are they in our way?
Like, yeah, do we have to go to that same spot still?
Is it even?
Since we're not there.
I mean, good to know. But if we didn't land there, does it matter that they were there? We're here now, and we can make our way to
Wherever.
Correct.
Would they have any way of knowing where we even were?
I do not believe that this army was intentionally sent for us.
Mm-hmm.
There's no way that they could have known
Mm-hmm.
the events happening in Junpoi, or that the Archdrake would send us here. They lie between us and the capital of Atur, where I intended to drop my charges in safety.
So we will encounter them.
I don't see how we can avoid them, but the problem remains, are they friend or foe?
Will that matter as much if we continue to travel on the Great Stone Road?
Well, they may not be able to attack us on the road, but 30,000 refugees on a 10-foot path is quite an opportunity. Even with the magical properties of the Great Stone Road, we might encounter difficulties should they choose to present them.
Is there a better place for everyone to go? Another city?
I am unsure of this. Assuming that our estimates are correct, my scouts determined that we are in the middle between my homeland, Modeg, and the tribe's land, or the capital of Atur. To the south of us, or possibly to the southwest, lies the Eld. We can't take the people there. I'm not certain what our course of action should be. At the moment, I am simply awaiting word to find out. Yes, no.
What does the big mean elf lady want to do?
You speak of Lady Asane, I presume. As far as I know, she's receiving this information at the same time that I am. As to her and Lord Bennett's inclinations, I am unaware.
Do you care?
Not particularly.
But they're gonna have to go with you, right?
He looks at you, Persephone.
We initially came in here to ask if you knew where Faye was.
Your ranger.
Mm-hmm.
Correct. Or if any search parties have been sent out. That was our initial goal this morning. And of course now there's an army in the way. But we are missing refugees.
She normally comes back. It's not unlike her to go for a time period, but she always comes back. She's never been gone this long.
Yes. And you were informed yesterday of our adventures.
Yes, I received word of the Slod.
Correct. Yeah.
Quite a concerning matter. One of the higher on my list of 5 problems.
Uh-huh.
What are the other 4?
3.
Well,
He said
we're
5.
2
Well,
already.
we've just thought Okay, here's how it goes. We started with
Don't
5.
talk to me, dwarf!
He reaches over and just pulls a stack, a piece of paper off of a stack, and peruses it, and he kind of shakes his head. It's not what he's looking for, and he turns and he snaps his fingers at one of the aides, and one of the aides rush over and he says, "Bring me the reports of the scouting parties searching for the missing refugees." And the aide wanders off for a moment and is going. These tables are loaded with papers and cabinets and boxes, and he just starts flipping through them. And Coltane looks at you and he says, "I don't know the whereabouts or last location of Faye, but it is concerning that a person of such stature and power should go missing. We are looking into it, but at this point we have neither the manpower nor the resources to dedicate to finding only a few when we are in the care, or so many are in the care of us.
Do you know which party she went with 2 days ago? Yesterday?
He pulls up that piece of paper that he was looking at. It says here that she was on an independent scouting mission in the general vicinity, north and east, with the 2nd Elven Scouting Mercenary Division under the charge of Lady Asane. That's the best I can tell you. And he hands you the paper, and it just says, like, word for word that. And it says, with intent to find food and water, resources, and a list of things that they're looking for. But no information other than that.
So Lady Asane would be a good person to talk to.
Her scouts might have better information than I do, but most information does still get processed.
No.
At this point, the aide comes walking back over, and
talk to their scouts.
Coltain receives a piece of paper and he looks it over as you guys are sort of like discussing this. He hands the piece of paper to you, and it's a list denoting it. There's been about, in the past 24 hours, there's been about 30 people that have been stopped as they willfully, intentionally try to leave the camp. Nobody's being pulled by their will, but these scouting parties have found people that are deciding to trek out on their own. I mean, there's 30,000 people here, and some people are probably independently minded enough.
They're just taking off.
And he doesn't consider it his duty to protect those who seek to independently find their own path.
Sure.
So that's sort of the gist of the scouting parties. And he apologizes. It's unfortunate, but he only has like 1,400 troops to try and corral and protect.
Understood. Thank you.
Of course. As you guys are doing this, as you guys are speaking, a horseman rides up, and it's an orcish.
Horse?
Sorry, my brain is a little foggy still. Yeah, it's a cavalry messenger guy. What was it called?
That sounds right. Courier?
Courier. It's a courier. And he like rushes into camp and like jumps off his horse and like nods, and he's got like a diplomat's bag. And it's a very specialized piece of equipment, and he rushes over to Coltain and he reaches into his pouch, and as he does, you see like this like faint golden sheen, and he pulls out this letter and he hands it to Coltain and he says, "My lord," and he hands him this report, and Coltain like sits up and like takes the report and he opens it and he like reads it quietly for a few minutes, and "I see, thank you." And he nods to the courier and he grabs a piece of paper and like scratches and screeches with his pen, and he like folds it up and puts like a quick stamp on it, hands it back to the courier, and the courier puts it into his bag. And you see the golden sheen again as the letter enters the bag, and the courier stands there and doesn't move. He doesn't go anywhere.
I want to see what it is.
The letter?
Are you announcing this?
No.
Coltain like looks at you.
Minora wants to see what the gold sheen is.
Okay. What does she do?
Is he leaving?
Nope. He's standing there.
Is he in front of Coltain?
Yep. He's like right there with the group. You guys are in like a command center, and there are like people beginning to like come out of their tents and.
Okay, I'll wait for just a couple of minutes.
Okay.
I wanna see what that is if he decides to leave.
I apologize too, because I'm clearly fuzzy-headed tonight as well.
That's okay.
So, wait, did you say the courier has handed it?
Mm-hmm. He handed him a letter,
Coltain
and Coltain read the report, and then pulled out a new piece of paper and wrote a reply or something, like a note of some kind, folded it up and stamped it. Yeah,
I'm
sorry.
trying to pay attention,
It's okay.
and I was like, wait, what just happened?
My brain, I'm sorry, I'm like trying to recover from a low, so my brain is like.
Yeah. No,
I'm like, this is super important stuff going on, and I really need to like focus and like I'm trying to do voices, trying to remember lines. I've got a list. Just gotta stick to the script. It's not really a script. It's gone way off the script. That's fine.
As always.
That's why I like D&D. It's because I have no idea what's happening. So he hands the letter back to the messenger. He puts it in his bag. It's got a diplomat's seal on the front of the bag.
So he's going to be leaving with reply.
It doesn't seem to
Is that isn't a Turin seal?
Yeah, it's a university seal. It's a diplomat's pouch.
Well, I mean, the seal from the letter that he wrote, does it look like it's he's talking to somebody from the Turin Empire?
No, it was a Modegan symbol. You don't recognize it specifically, but it does look like it.
No, wait, And wait, the
He's a
army was
Modegan.
it the Turin or?
The army that is in the way is a turn, yeah.
Oh, okay, not Modegan.
So you guys want to do anything, or I know you were gonna wait a few minutes before he like sighs deeply. You guys have anything to say while he's writing his response?
I don't know what to ask.
We're probably gonna go try to find our lost friend first. But we will be a resource and we'll serve however we can.
I see. He like is finishing his response, and he's like folding up his letter, handing it right when you say that. Well, you may certainly pursue any eventualities that you choose, but it seems that a representative from the army has been sent our way and will be arriving here in about an hour.
So the army did figure out we were here.
If you would like to be present, I would not say no to having the support that you offer.
We will be here.
Seems like a plan to me then.
An hour won't hurt either way.
I suggest you make yourselves
Does that mean we
presentable.
get breakfast?
Yes.
And he like looks at you, and then he like gestures to the mess tent. Please feel free to bequeath yourself of my supplies.
I head over
she
there.
will.
It's like an open pavilion, and like people are like lining up for breakfast. There's like muffins and pastries and general breakfast food.
General
Okay.
ration foods. I'm gonna head over there and keep my eye on the tent.
Yeah.
Hopefully the courier leaves pretty soon.
The courier is like standing there, just like
I know.
He's weird. So, how about we basically all, nod at Colting or whatever, and then head out and we'll get our breakfast and
Wait for now.
okay. So
clean
you
ourselves
guys,
up or whatever.
yeah. I mean, you guys are like you just woke up and you're not presentable for like a diplomatic meeting, but you guys are
Mhm.
presentable enough to like wander around a refugee
Right.
camp.
Sure.
Okay, so you guys go and like make yourself nice. There's like a small washing station, not a latrine, but like a hand washing station. So you guys all kind of like make yourself nice.
Vulcan
and
didn't even
presentable.
think about it. It was just Persephone. It was like, you kind of stink a little bit. You might want to take care of that. And I'm like, oh, right.
You may
Rock.
That might have been what Coltain was getting at. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
Can you imagine that conversation though with Falcon be like, what?
What?
Go over there.
Wash your face.
I just imagine Persephone with like the dwarves with like, show me your hands. Show them, Grumpy.
Nails.
Oh man, sorry. I'm like just trying to get my brain.
Oh, that's okay.
Okay. So,
Okay.
you guys get cleaned up and sort of loiter around, do anything else particular? In this time, do you want to...
How much time would it take for us to go talk to the scouts?
Maybe
Not sure, but it probably can't take that long.
I mean, there's some scouts around and about, but mostly they're scouting. Lady Asane's tent is like right there.
Hmm.
It's like 25,
So
30 feet
how do
away.
we? This is sort of semi-player question. How do we ascertain who her scouts are and which ones?
Pretty much all
we
of the
know
Elven
from-
forces are... Yeah, you guys would know. Like, all of the Elven forces are used as scouts and rangers. They're out there. Like, her entire force of, like, several hundred, two
So
or 300
we
is out
could-
there scouting.
Wander by her
Mhm.
tent without being seen by her
Yeah, she doesn't usually leave her tent so
Okay.
far as you have
and inquire
very
of
often.
her scouts.
Yeah, there's like elves loitering about outside her tents, and most of her retainers are like in tents nearby hers and stuff. So you could easily find an elf to ask if that's what you're looking for.
Oh, you're right.
If that's what you're...
Okay.
Yes?
Okay.
I will go check on her. I will be back momentarily.
I really want to keep on eating guacamole.
I want to go see what's in Milton's tent. But I'm not going to steal anything.
You can be dishonest. You can say you're not going to steal anything.
I'll
And
borrow
just
something.
No, borrow
Maybe
something.
I'll leave them something nice.
May I confess, because Hannah is still here playing a different character, the amount that I care for Faye,
Okay.
I'm
Is it
just
very
like, is this a thing we have to do? Because
That's funny.
there's the part of my brain though that's like, yeah, but Hannah's right here, so I don't care. Like,
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
care, and she's clearly moving on to this other character, so I don't care where Faye is as much. Do you know what I mean? Like if you had not been able to play because we still had not found your character or something,
Right, then
that
there
would
would
be a
be
driving
urgency.
force for me. Like, no, where is Faye? Faye is our friend. This is blah. But I don't know.
Valken has a sore spot for losing people too. So
Yeah. Maybe you guys should have it out.
Have it out.
She's saying she's messing with it. She isn't saying Persephone.
Yeah, because I feel like Persephone would still care, but I have a hard time. Like,
Falcon and Siri.
especially like if I'm already like fuzzy tonight, like that happens when I'm tired.
Mm-hmm.
And usually when I'm tired, I notice that I get like impatient.
Hmm.
And I'm not
like it.
I'm not as good at D&D because I'm that impatient. Because I'm like, all right, let's go, let's do it, and la 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 la. And that's not normally how I feel. I'm like, yeah, this is fine, this is great, I'm very interested. I am, but do you know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
I feel like Persephone would be a lot the same. Like when she was tired, she'd be like, "Okay, I've had enough."
right.
Mm.
That's true. Military encampment.
So she's gonna start trying to steal or explore,
What are you gonna do, Minari?
I want.
Talk to me.
and she's going to talk to the elves.
So if I have access to Coltane's tent, I'm gonna walk back into Coltane's tent and I'm gonna have my hands behind my back. I'm just gonna roam around.
Okay,
So-
so you roam around the tent, totally.
Just walking around.
Inconspicuously.
We were all getting ourselves ready, so we parted all ways. We all parted ways, sort of, right?
Yeah, I mean you're all within like the 100-foot radius of the.
So, then
I'm
we
following
were
you
talking
actually.
about going to see Elven Scouts. Lucy, do you want to come?
Yeah.
And then let's say like we look around for Minari.
Hold on.
She's like you see her like bobbing among the tables, like with all the papers and stuff. You just see her the top of her little hat.
Well, all right.
I don't have a
Do you
hat.
have a, okay, sorry, you see the top of her little hair.
I have.
Should we leave her here? Should we let her be by herself?
You guys can keep an eye on her. Like there's lots of people around, but you can
I'm-
still like.
I don't care enough. Let's go.
I duck underneath the tables and you don't see me anymore.
Okay.
Go ahead and roll stealth.
I want to like crawl underneath the tables. 17.
Okay, you are now underneath the table.
Crawling.
It's not that low. You're pretty short. You kind of are crushed.
So now that you can't see me, I'm leaving.
You're like what, 3.5 foot? 3.5 foot tall? A little. Okay, so what do you guys? You guys are going over to the elves.
We're gonna go talk to the
Medium
elves.
tall or elder tall.
Pretty much.
Okay, you walk up to the outside of Lady Asane's tent, and there are,
And Lucy's, you're coming with us.
there's
right?
probably half a dozen elven archers and warriors standing out front, casually lounging. They look at you as you approach, and like they know you, so like a few of them nod their heads and like acknowledge you, but they don't like greet you formally or anything. So,
I just smile and say, "Hey,"
hi.
Hey.
and then I.
Okay then.
The elves are kind of like, okay, we know these weirdos. They're being weirdos. Pretty standard fare. What? Yeah, they're kind of eyeing you up. Did you need something?
We came to ask if any of you have seen Faye since she last went out on a mission. We haven't seen her. Normally she comes and goes, but she always comes back, and she has not yet. And the last time we thought we saw Faye turned out to be a Grey Slod who attacked us.
They like look amongst each other, and
Don't worry, we took it out.
they like look at you. And they like look around, and they're like, last we saw Faye, she was returning to the camp. And she was here, and she left with Falcon, heading to your campsite, presumably.
When was that, Falcon?
That was at the beginning of last session, where she betrayed you.
Where she came into the tent.
That was
She
the
was
slot.
That was the last time. Okay.
That's the last time these guard, like the tent guards.
Do you know?
She was already a
So
slot.
that was the Slod.
If that was a slot, then and they like kind of look at each other. They look more uncomfortable now. They're like,
Yeah.
what? It doesn't seem like that information was shared. Maybe to keep from causing panic, or just because Coltane has other people on it. But these particular guards in the employ of Lady Asane were not informed.
She went out with one of your guys' scouts. Do you know who that would have been?
Which sector was she in?
Player knowledge. What did he
The
say?
northeast sector.
Northeast.
That would have been, yes, day before yesterday. That would have been the 2nd Scouting Division, if I recall correctly.
That sounds right.
Who was in charge of that?
Well, in charge of is kind of a.
Who was there?
He lists off a couple of scouts.
Anybody that you see?
Can we speak to them?
When they return, you do know the scouts, they go for days at a time at times, and the scouts have been reaching further and further out as time goes on. I believe the second is out towards the east at the moment, but I can have word sent to you when they return.
Please.
Thank you.
Yes, of course.
Thank you.
If you hear of any more Slod, please feel free to inform us. And he slides a dagger slightly out and back into its sheath.
Oh.
He's like, they're a little more on edge.
Be vigilant.
And you as well, dwarf.
We didn't expect them to
Do I have
follow us
one
here
yours?
either, so
Yeah, it's very concerning.
yes.
I knew that their powers of imitation were great, but that's quite concerning. They kind of stand around, they kind of whisper amongst themselves a little bit, but not much. They kind of they all know each other really well, and they.
I'm just gonna say, well, excuse us. Good day to you.
Yep.
Good day
Thank
to you
for
as
the
well.
information, and then we'll just wander off.
Okay.
We should have a safe word.
Safe word?
We should have a safe word.
Amongst each other.
Yeah.
Okay, what shall it be?
Like when it's time to leave.
No.
As in, if
So that
someone...
we know each other's.
So we know we're not a Slod.
Mm.
Oh, like a passphrase, a call and
Yes.
response.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Thunder, flash.
what should it be?
I like how I used to do that.
What's your favorite? No, I'm kidding.
I know what my password is.
I know my password.
I ain't no copy.
I know copy.
Have you ever seen Fringe?
No.
Oh.
Only the episodes I've seen in your presence.
Oh, okay.
That's basically it.
Well, that's definitely not a plot point or anything. That would be weird. Didn't want to. No spoilers.
So, Lucy, what do you think?
We should make it so it's a casual thing, like how are you, and then you answer something weird back.
Like blueberry?
How does the day go? How does the day go? It's full of blueberries.
The sun is black as the grass is green.
How does the day go? It's full of blueberries.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Full of blueberries.
Okay.
Okay.
Is that what you guys actually want to do?
Yeah. I better write that down.
You better write that down.
How does the day go?
We all. Oh wait, I'm not here to see.
No,
I'm not
you're
here to hear this.
It's
Making
full of
rules
blueberries?
without me.
Mm-hmm.
It is full of blueberries, or just full of blueberries, or
It's full of blueberries.
That's hilarious. Okay. I like
Why
it.
not?
I like it.
Are we supposed to? One of us asks that, and then the other one has to answer this.
Yes.
Is what you're saying. Got it.
The one that has to prove that they're not. Because how does the day go is kind of a weird way of saying how are you.
Right.
So then it's obviously signaling.
That's true.
Okay.
Okay, so Minari, what are you doing while they're...
I'm just looking at stuff. I kind of want to see who else is in the tent. Who else is in this tent here?
Currently, you are in a tent with, or the pavilion. It's not really a tent, there's no sides. It's like a booth.
Like a
Yeah, but
three-sided
you are...
gazebo.
Yeah, you guys are in the... there are two aides that are among the tables right now. And then there is Coltane, who is sitting at his little writing desk. Not little, but his writing desk. And he's making notes, and he seems very busy. He's not paying attention. The aides don't seem to have noticed you on the tables either.
They don't know in the tent?
The
Where's the
courier
courier?
is just outside the tent. He's kind of leaning against one of the tent posts. He's just chillaxing. He's very casual at the moment.
Oh, he's off his guard.
Maybe. Is that what she thinks?
I want to. Okay, so do I perceive that his satchel is easy to get into?
It's just like a flap.
Do I detect magic? Can I detect magic?
It's a 10-minute ritual. You have to talk and set up stuff and things, but certainly you can.
I'm not good at that stuff yet.
Yeah.
Okay. I think I'll go up and I'll I want to talk to the courier.
Okay, so you go up and talk to him. As you approach, he like glances up. He's like got a little dagger out, and he's like picking his fingernails, and he like glances up at you, and he nods.
So what you doing?
Waiting. What are you doing?
Talking to you. What are you waiting for?
Instructions. I'm a courier. I take messages when messages need to be delivered. What do you do?
That Coltane gave you? I saw him give you one.
He like looks at you and he, Miss, I'm an Imperial courier. He like looks at you and he like pats his bag and he's just like, it's been delivered.
You already left?
No, are you unaware of what Imperial couriers do? He like looks at you and like looks around and kind of like grins and he like give me a token. And he like holds out his hand. I'll show you.
I'm gonna dig in my pockets and I'll give him a feather.
Okay, so you give him, what kind of feather do you give him?
A bright yellow canary feather.
Okay, so he takes the bright yellow canary feather and he looks at it and he goes, very good. And he opens his bag and like the small, like the bright, like the little dim glow happens and he drops it in and he closes it and he stands there for a moment and he goes, if you'll wait just a moment. What brings you to the encampment?
I'm making new friends.
New friends. And he looks around. Would that be the interesting party that you arrived with?
Oh no, they don't like me.
Oh, then which friends are you making?
I'm making them my friends.
He kind of grins and he's. I can understand that. And he like looks and he goes, oh, and he goes like, it looks like it's ready. And he like, do you want to see? And he like lifts open his bag and he holds it open. And you see nothing. The bag is empty.
Where'd you get that? Can I have it?
He laughs a little bit and he goes, no, you cannot have it.
But I really, really want
And he reaches and he like closes it for a second and then he like closes the pouch and he like opens it and there's that gold glow and he reaches in and he pulls out an envelope and he hands it to you.
Okay, I have it.
It's an envelope and it has like, it's like an official wax seal and it's got like the Aturan courier stamp on it, on the wax. And you open it.
I open it.
And inside there is a note, and the note in hand-scrawled words says, "Thank you for the lovely feather. I hope you enjoyed the show."
They do this often.
That's amazing!
Thank you. It's one of our smaller magics. It's unique to the Courier Corps, and it's quite useful. See, this pouch, the Courier's, the Diplomat's pouch, is connected to a single other pouch in the world, and that pouch is at the Courier headquarters in the capital of Atours. Now, I put a letter in here addressed to someone. They send it. I send it to the capital. The capital sends it to a pouch nearest the recipient, and the courier holding the pouch delivers it to the recipient.
Very long horizon. I'm kidding.
How do I get one?
How do you get a courier pouch?
Yes. Yes, I want one.
You go through years of training as a courier, ma'am.
But it sounds like all you have to do is be available.
Well, there's quite a bit of travel.
I happen to be very available.
Well, I'll keep that in mind. But
Hey now!
you do know that this isn't... it's not to a single other person, it's to a headquarters, like an organization, and they know each of us. We're highly intimate. We've gone through years of study and training.
Where did you train at?
The Courier Academy.
Where's they have those?
Just the one.
Where's that at?
The
Is
capital.
it in Atour?
Yes.
It sounds like a place I'd like to go.
It's pretty amazing. Hotbed of culture. It's where most of us come from. And he like flicks you a gold coin, and it's got a special like mark on it. It's an Aturan mark.
I'll pocket that one.
Okay. It's just a gold coin. But
What's your name, pal?
me?
Yeah.
Nobody needs to know the names of couriers. It's better if we're anonymous.
Well, it's nice to meet you, Anonymous.
Nice to meet you too, Gnome.
I'm Minari.
Nice to meet you.
I'll bring my friends around so you can show them your trick.
Sounds delightful.
I'm very excited. I'm gonna go in the tent now.
Okay.
Okay, bye.
Goodbye. He goes back to like he's obviously amused. This seems like something that he does for like children.
This is so much
Party
fun.
trick.
Sorry.
Okay, so.
Okay, so
anything
I
else?
wanna you can switch to them now.
What do you guys do? Okay,
I thought we
so
were just waiting.
yeah,
We're just waiting. We're just
you
waiting.
guys want to do anything else before?
Making connections over here.
No.
We just were,
You're networking.
we were just over
Networking.
there making up our phrase.
Okay.
If we're waiting around, I'm playing one of my instruments. That's all.
Ooh.
Okay, so you pull out your lyre and you're kind of, plinking away. It as you play, like it kind of soothes. Like there's this sort of agitation, and it kind of soothes the mood of everybody. Coltane seems to relax visibly in his seat, and the aides, they're not like so tense and tight. And the only one who was kind of at his ease at the time was like the courier, and he doesn't seem very much distressed.
Not anymore.
Yeah, he didn't no real change for him, but everybody else kind of like relaxes, and everybody's kind of like in a little bit of a jovial mood. Most people have like a hangover, and they're kind of like getting back into it. So the gentle music is very soothing. After about 45 minutes, Coltane tosses down his ink pen and like stands up. His chair would scoot if it was on wood floor, but it's on grass, so it doesn't. And he stands up and he looks around at the few people and the 2 or 3 guards that are with him, and he, shall we then?
I'm
And he
walking
turns
over.
and immediately begins walking out of the.
I'm walking over.
I follow him.
We're following.
Okay, so he's followed by you guys. There are 3 guards, the courier, and 2 aides.
Okay.
As you guys progress through the camp is getting up and about. People are striking their tents and putting out their campfires and taking care of morning business. You guys are headed towards the south, where the party will be encountering the visiting dignitary from the army. So you guys travel for about 10 or 15 minutes. It's a large camp. It's 30,000 refugees. And, it's pretty sprawling, and you guys pass through everybody, and you get to sort of the outskirts. It's kind of like this big, wider, open area. There's some guards off in the distance, maybe 200, 300 feet away. But they can see pretty well, and they've got bows and arrows, and they're just kind of keeping a watchful eye. Everybody kind of knows what's going on. And in the distance, about probably a mile away, you see 4 riders on horseback approaching.
Okay.
Okay, so you wait, and as you wait, the horses approach. Coltane is standing in strict attention, and he is waiting. As they ride up, they get to about 40 feet away from you, and they slow to a halt, and you see 4 orcish noblemen. And one of them dismounts and begins to proceed over to you guys, and 2 of the others do the same, and one stays back and holds the horse's reins. About 30 feet away from you, they suddenly, the lead one suddenly stops, and it's an orc. It's a young orc man, and he has bright red hair, and he stops and stares for a moment, and then draws his sword and runs forward.
I'm rolling for insight to see if I understand what's going on.
Go ahead and roll.
I want to
16.
16 plus 4, 20.
Okay.
I want it.
This character bears a striking resemblance to a member of your party.
That's what I thought.
And as he rushes forward, he yells out as he runs, and Percy, you stay right there! And he is pissed, but he is grinning. And he rushes over, and the guards rush in front of Coltane, who takes a single step back. And
Wait, who's Percy? I forget.
That's Persephone, obviously.
Oh no!
he rushes up to Persephone, and he stands there for a moment with his sword out, glaring. He is a head and a half taller than her, and he is just glaring and smiling and furious, but doesn't know what to do. And after a moment, he just takes his sword and he holds it up and flips it around and stamps it into the ground and kneels in front of her, and he just is
Oh.
Percy,
Percy.
I have been seeking you
What?
for years, and the minute I stop searching, and he like looks up at you, and he is just like pissed, and he doesn't know it, like he's like trying not to laugh, and he's trying not to shout, and he's like his shaking, and he is like all sorts of emotions are happening on his face right now, and he's just like, the minute I find you is when I stop looking. And he like stands up and he leaves the sword on the ground and he just wraps his arms around you and just pulls you into the super tight tuck. This is one of her younger brothers.
Do you want me to grapple him?
Do you know him?
No.
She's like, no. You like try to like.
Wait, which one?
This is Tath.
Tath. Okay.
Taff.
Tath.
T-A-T-H.
Taff.
And he like.
They're there.
They're there.
And he
They're
like
there.
pushes you out and he's just like, you've gotten shorter, Percy.
Gotten taller.
It's been a long time.
Wait, this is your army?
He looks up and my army. He like looks around. He's like a little confused. He's no. And he like his face kind of like sobers up a little bit, and he like, not my army. No. I've brought most of the Deadlatch Guard to the king's orders. He's rousing an army. There seems to have been a magical breach towards the Modegan territories. He seems to think that the Modegans are. And he looks over at Coltane, who's like in full Modegan military garb. And he like kind of glares a little bit. And he like takes a deep breath and he stands back and he like picks up his sword and like and he like motions his friends forward and like they step forward. They're unknown to you. You've never seen these two men, so they're not.
That was my next question.
They're not.
Maybe the other people.
And he like looks at you and he, Lord Coltane, and he turns to him and he's, I see that you have been traveling in the company of my sister. And Coltane's eyebrows like shoot up and he looks at you and he's like, looks at Tath and he looks back. You're Tath Locke of City of Annalyn. Tath like looks at him and says, yep, that's me. First sword of the lady. And he like looks back at you. And and Coltane is just like, and you're the lady.
Yes. Somewhat.
And he
Are you a queen?
No.
Are you a princess?
Not quite. No.
Not far from it. This is the infamous Duchess Heir of the City of Annalyn. City of Locks. City of Keys. And he looks to you and he like has this look of like slight suspicion and surprise and he like nods to you and he's, if I had known I was traveling in such esteemed company, I would have made sure that, well, and he looks back towards the camp a little bit and he's, perhaps not. And he like takes a deep breath and he sighs.
That is the entire point.
Yes, I gather. And the guards like kind of like loosen their stances a little bit and kind of like.
I don't really get what's going on here.
So does Valken just stands there like this?
And Lucy's in the back like flicking her tail. She's just.
No. Well, nothing surprises me.
So Tath turns to you and he like reaches into his coat and he pulls out this like letter and he like, this is well, it's for me, but it's also sort of for you, and he hands it to you. Oh. And you open the letter and inside it says, by order of the Duchess, should my daughter be found by any member, affiliate, or associate of Annalyn or its trading partners, she is to be detained and word sent so she may be collected and returned home.
Oh wait, I don't know that.
You ran away.
She's just read this one. And it's signed in your mother's signature. And he looks at you and he says, this is from several years ago, mind you, but I imagine the sentiment holds true. Although, and he looks at you, things may have changed more than you expect.
What do you mean?
And he looks at you a little bit and like his face kind of falls a little bit. Sister, you've been gone long. there is much trouble at home, and you should never have been gone so long. After this, we will discuss it. He turns towards Coltane, and he walks over there, and they begin having a discussion. And I'll just synopsize it for you, so I don't have to do a bunch of play acting with myself.
I would like that though.
You would be like Gollum.
You could be like that.
No, don't jinx us.
If you guys really want me to, I have a whole conversation like ready to go. But the gist,
the thought of watching you do that.
I need like 2 hats where I can like just switch my hats every time. The gist of the conversation is this: there was a huge magical breach detected by the mages in a tour, and the king has been acting more suspicious
Are you the
and
magical breach?
more suspicious and wary as of late. And he,
I'm sorry, I have a question.
Go ahead.
Is the king of? Is it an empire? Though?
excuse me, yes,
So
the
it's the
emperor. My apologies.
Okay, I just couldn't remember if I was mixing it.
No, you're correct. It is an empire. I have been working on another kingdom who the king thinks he's an emperor because he's
Oh.
very low intelligence but real strong.
Oh.
So he calls himself an emperor,
He's a
but
dwarf.
totally the Vince, yes. And so he doesn't really understand the difference between king and emperor. So he runs a kingdom, and everybody refers to him as a king, but he calls himself an emperor, and if you refer to him as anything else. Anyway, yeah, you're right. It's the emperor.
So the emperor's been getting.
The emperor's been a little paranoid and manic lately, and he believes that the Modegans have gathered their tribes and are going to be marching against.
This is a
The
magical
capital.
Cold War.
And up until now, the armies and their leaders have had no sign of any Modegan military presence in this part of a tour. But the day before, they had encountered several Modegan military scout parties. And so-
Which was us?
Which was you. And so now, there is a Modegan military presence, and
They're not happy.
they're not happy. So they took volunteers, and the volunteer is the brave, young First Sword, Tath. He is one of the preeminent nobles of this band, and he
Sounds a
has
little
brought the 5,000 Deadlatch Guard of City Annalyn to bolster the forces as the Emperor required. Nobody was really happy about being here, but it was quite a surprise when there was actually Modegan military troops here. It's troubling. Coltane assures him then that it is not a front by the Modegan military, although he is unsure if the breach is actually the transportation of Junpoi or not. There is some confusion. But because Persephone's here, Tath seems to be a lot less defensive than he was intending to be. He seems to be a little at a loss. He was mostly expecting to go into like an ambush or a fight of some kind. The diplomatic proceedings were mostly going to go wrong. And he saw his sister. Tath, you don't know. You sort of gather this, is like a highly accomplished swordsman and has very little fear of walking into an ambush of even an army and his troops' ability to escape, which is why they sent him as the courier.
Would it be
He
possible
pretty much
for me to have
outright
a
says
side,
that to Coltane.
side conversation with Persephone while it's happening, or do I have to pay so close attention that I can have a conversation with her?
No, it's mostly sort of just like general hearsay. This goes on for about an hour as they discuss what the movements of the troops are and what the refugees are doing.
Princess.
No.
Tath can see the refugee camp, so it's not like it's...
Not. I'm not.
You didn't think that was relevant information?
No. Why? Why would it be?
You're like a flippin' noble.
Yes, you could tell that from my manners.
He doesn't have any manners. He doesn't know what those are.
Or close to.
Why'd you run?
Oh. I needed to wander.
Do you still need to wander?
Less so. Especially after all of our adventures. And then, like, she, shows the tattoo again. Less so now. But
So we
did
don't need
for a
to.
long time.
You don't need to escape right now. You don't need help.
No. Thank you. If there's trouble at home, I probably better return.
Well, we better head there.
At least
come
to
with
see
you?
what's happening.
What if the trouble at home has to do with the trouble here?
then maybe even better. Kill 2 birds with 1 stone.
I like killing.
Yes, I agree.
The courier is like standing closer to you than he is to Coltane, and he kind of like snickers as you say that. And he's like, wouldn't have guessed.
Have you guys met the courier yet?
No.
His name is Anonymous.
It's not anonymous.
You said you were anonymous.
It's better to keep our identities anonymous. You can call me Anon. It's fine.
Hey, Nan.
Did you say what his pouch does?
Oh,
You would
know.
I would know.
You would
You
know.
say-
You outright know what a courier pouch does.
Show the dwarf. Oh, dwarf. Give him some.
Can it be you?
No, I won't fit in.
She won't fit in the pouch. She's little, not that little.
What do you got?
Go on, give him some.
He's like a token. And he like hands out. So you guys do this trick.
Yeah.
What do you give him?
I'm giving him just straight copper.
You give him a copper piece, so he like
Yeah.
flicks it around a little bit, puts it in. He
Okay.
receives a note and it says, "Thank you for the gift. I hope you enjoyed the show."
See?
Yeah.
Why isn't it signed?
It's signed with like a courier seal, like just like a courier service has like these
Yeah,
prepackaged
but
notes.
who sent it? What's the name?
He like rolls his eyes and
Anonymous.
closes his bag. He just ignores
That's his name. That can't be the other guy's name.
it. We're all kind of anonymous.
They're all anonymous.
If you meet others, they'll look like me, act like me, talk like me.
You're no fun.
It's
Go ahead, give him some. Go ahead, give him some.
You guys can all put on your pouch. You guys all have a generic courier letter
I'm glad
with the courier seal on it. You can put that in your list of
I'm
things.
putting that in my list of things.
They're like little souvenirs. If you do it,
Oh, I don't think
they're like little souvenirs, but you guys can have them.
necessary.
Yeah.
Courier.
Lucy's good.
Tath keeps, as he's discussing things with Coltane, he keeps like turning and like looking at you just to make sure you're not like gone
Running away.
or disappeared. He just like is like kind of like looking over his shoulder.
If I see him, can I sneak up by them and listen to what he's saying? Tap.
I'm pretty sure that we
Sure, you don't have to sneak.
Over here.
He's like talking loud, like they're discussing things in like a public manner.
Well, what do we do now? I'm bored.
I leave that up to you.
I'm pretty sure she can't leave.
Take a deep breath.
Daniel Tiger is not available at the table.
Forever and ever.
What?
Can I
Sure.
see what Taff has on him?
Go ahead and roll a perception check.
Oh gosh.
Or are you like trying to go through his pockets, or are
gosh.
you looking at him? I should ask.
I
Looking at him, you know he's wearing very, very finely crafted armor. His sword is of the highest quality. It has a runestone attached at the pommel.
Ooh.
He is wearing boots that are like super fine, and underneath of it he has nobleman clothes, but they're like battle garb. It's like thick,
She always
well-worn
wanted that.
hide. Did you really?
Mhm.
So you see, and like he's got a few jewels on his armor, but it doesn't look pristine. It looks like his armor is used, and the gemstones are practical in some fashion.
Do I know what the runestone means?
No, not by looking at it. Well, you could roll an Arcana check if you'd like to see the specific, if you know just off the hand.
I do.
Go ahead and roll an Arcana check. Wait, are you proficient in Arcana?
I don't know.
Look at your intelligence, and next to it should say Arcana.
4. I'm not proficient.
You
No.
can't tell just by looking.
Okay. Even though I got an 18.
If you're not proficient, you wouldn't know magic like that.
Okay.
Do you have any other family?
Yes.
I mean, I don't know your family. I mean, I'm sure that you're very well known, and this is a stupid question, but
At this point, like some chairs and a small table are brought out by some of the aides and set down for Coltane and Tath to sit at. And a map is presented before them and some documents. And they're still continuing their
Taff is
conversation.
leading this party because he did have 3 others with him. Are they also in that conversation?
Yeah, they're all standing around. This is like a military advisory committee. Like they're discussing what the fuck are you doing here? Where are all these troops from? Why does the king or the emperor think that there's some things going on? Have you seen any other activity? What's going on in Jinpoi? They're filling him in on everything, and they're discussing.
The fact that the Archdrake is dead.
And Jinpoi has been
Exactly,
moved, and grand magic was used, and there's some other
Okay.
stuff. Yeah.
Okay. Where were we?
I was trying to pickpocket somebody, or I was
I was
trying to
asking.
figure out who I could pickpocket.
He was talking to you. She was trying to pickpocket.
Oh,
I was
okay.
asking.
Taff.
I was asking you how big your
Are you
family
really
was.
trying to pickpocket Taff
I kind of want to, yeah.
with your mage hand? Is that what you mean?
Exactly.
Roll sleight of hand.
Okay, then.
Roll how to sleight of hand check with your.
10, 21.
Okay.
So wait, how are you adding that? How is
She
that
has
that
it plus
high?
11.
I have a really high, I have 11 for my sleight of hand and myself.
Jesus Christ.
She took double proficiency
Double
and
proficiency.
expertise. Because rogues are skill monkeys, which means that they can get
Oh.
really, really high, or they can
But
get
you-
jack of
I'm
all
not
trades.
super
Kind of.
great in a fight, just so you know.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. She is really good in a sneak attack.
Really
played
good
both
attack.
sides of,
Yeah.
in your characters, huh?
Dare I say her sneak attack is thunderous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's amazing. It's broken, but just standard blow for blow, not great.
Oh, okay.
But she's a skill monkey, so she will shore up a lot of
So-
other deficiencies. So you reach up, and he has a belt pouch that is slightly loose. You reach up inside of it, and you pull out a small ring.
A ring?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Hmm.
Okay, I'm gonna pocket that.
Does that mean she's are you invisible?
The
My
mage
mage
hand
hand
is
is
invisible.
Mage hand is.
So it's
And when it
invisible,
closes
and once
around
it closes
something,
around
it
it
becomes invisible.
So it gets,
okay.
has it in a...
You now have a signet ring of the House Locke.
Wow. Don't you have one of those? No, I'm kidding.
She does.
Actually.
I
Cool. And I really like that.
So, but meanwhile, we don't see this
No,
happening.
no.
We're
Meanwhile,
about
I
to talk-
was just asking about how big your family was.
Oh, I gotta write that down.
Well,
Signet ring, right?
yes,
House of...
lock. So, my mother is the Duchess of the House of Locke of what did you call them?
I'm walking back
The
to
houses or that
Annalyn,
this
the city of
conversation.
just
Annalyn.
Annalyn? Okay.
She's the Duchess of she's the the Duchess, so she's of the second highest noble caste in the Empire.
Yeah.
She's
So
the
that-
regent of the city of Annalyn, I should say.
Yeah.
That's her saying.
And for the longest time, it was me and my mother remarried, and so there's my stepfather and my half brothers.
Oh, so you have. half
You're a
brothers.
twin.
No,
No.
my
Oh.
brothers.
The brothers are twins.
So there's another him over there.
Is he as exuberant?
Yes.
It's been a long time.
It's been 5 years since I've
5
seen them.
years.
Yep.
5 years ago, I was not even old enough to fight.
Well, I just left, like I said. I wanted to get out and not be so restrained by duty.
That bad, huh?
Not bad, just wanderlust.
Hmm.
Mother's been trying to find me ever since. I've been in contact, somewhat. I just haven't been home.
I'm like, okay, what's going on now?
Okay, yeah, you guys are. So as you guys are talking about this, you guys are looking around and discussing things, and Persephone looks wildly uncomfortable. Lucy, are you doing anything?
I was listening to Coltane.
So you're not listening to Persephone's story?
Also, that I'm just kind of standing listening to everything going
You're in between?
Are we all just like right there?
Pretty close, I guess. I've walked back to their conversation.
Yeah.
But I kind of want to walk around to.
What's that mean?
I want to see what the other. I want to see what the other people have.
Okay. So
I'm just gonna go to the next person.
as your mage hand is like going to the next person, so go ahead and roll like a sleight of hand check for me. We'll just see what you find and if you find anything.
Oh, 1.
Okay, so you don't find quite the opportunity to get any. Everybody else is like watching and kind of like moving. Everybody else is standing up. Tath was kind of like lower. He was sitting on the chair. So as you guys are sitting there, all of a sudden, crossbow bolt flies and strikes Coltane in the right shoulder and knocks him flat on the ground.
Oh.
And as you guys are standing there, you see a invisible person appear right behind Tath and grab his hair and pull him back and cut his throat. And Tath's body like falls to the side, and as they do that, two other invisible parties appear.
Okay, Persephone full out screams.
Okay, two other invisible people appear and like stab the two guys behind him, and the third one holding the horses drops his reins and draws his sword, and they are falling. You have
Oh no!
time. You have to roll initiative, please.
Oh no! 19.
8.
19.
Oh,
Ed and I both got 19.
Okay,
8.
Did you add your initiative?
No.
so 2 8s and 2 19s.
Yeah.
Okay, that's amazing.
21 for me. So, wait,
24.
Top right.
why do I always forget this? Oh, it's not that much. So, 8, 9,
20.
10, 11.
Okay, who's
24 for me.
20?
Mine's 9 total.
11.
Okay.
Clearly
So-
she's in shock.
Yeah, so we got Minari first. Who was second? Lucy. And then Faye, and then Valken. Or not Faye, excuse me.
Yeah.
Persephone and then Valken.
Persephone and Valken, yeah. I'm last. Ooh, the music switched.
Yeah, it did.
He's using that cool.
Health. Everybody. Minari first.
70.
Lucy.
70.
Persephone.
54.
Ooh, squishy.
Okay, and Valken.
109.
I cast invisibility.
Okay, so Minari just immediately goes invisible. Okay, the orc and the elf went first, the two that are there, and then two more, an elf and an orc went. It is Minari's turn. What do you wanna do?
So the people are still invisible, correct?
Yep.
Okay, so
No, excuse me, the four who attacked. One shot a crossbow bolt, one cut Tath's throat, two more attacked the soldiers on Tath's either side.
Okay.
They're probably 10 feet away from you guys. They're real close.
Okay.
I'm like gonna cry.
Don't cry. I am going
That's just from one
to.
of your twin brothers that died.
It's okay.
How long will it take me to do detect magic? Is that like an action?
It's like 10 minutes.
That's 10
It's a ritual. Anything on your rituals you can't cast in combat.
I'm gonna do it before I start.
Yeah.
Well. Okay, hold on.
Are you okay?
Yeah.
You killed my brother, bro.
I know what I did.
You killed mine, too.
And
Pretty
here
much.
he is, like, let's plan Persephone's backstory. Doesn't she have these super cool brothers? And, like, let's talk about them.
You're the best. By that I mean you're the worst.
Okay, here's what I'm gonna do.
Persephone and Valken are gonna be like bros after
pretty
this.
bonded.
So, player knowledge. If I throw dirt on this towards this thing, will it show at all?
Well, there are 4 people who are visible and just attacked 4 people in your
Oh, I
party.
thought they were invisible.
They were.
Yeah,
They
visible.
dropped invisibility to
Now
attack. They had lesser
To
invisibility.
attack, so they had to
They
drop
had to drop
their.
it to attack.
Oh, I'm gonna attack him. Okay, I'm gonna go with let's.
Well, you just cast invisibility. That's it. Action.
Oh, that's my action. Okay, so I'm gonna do Shadow Blade then. That's my bonus action.
Okay.
So Shadow Blade. What?
Shadow Blade's awesome.
This magic sword lasts until the spell ends. It counts as a simple melee weapon with which you are proficient. It deals 2d8 psychic damage on a hit and has the finesse, light, and thrown properties. If you drop the weapon and throw it, it dissipates at the end of the turn. While the spell persists, you can use a bonus action to cause the sword to reactivate. Okay, so I attack with my Shadow Blade.
Throwing it or running up and striking it?
I'm gonna run up. They're not very far away.
10 feet.
And I got plenty of
You guys
space.
are all like 10 feet away from
Is
each
she
other.
gonna get sneak attack since they?
I get sneak attack.
She's invisible.
Invisible, yeah. So I'll get advantage.
Yep.
Well,
on
and
my roll.
that and you also have sneak attack damage.
So
Being a rogue.
I'm gonna roll to hit.
Mm-hmm.
14
Plus what?
Or 14.
Is it a plus anything? It should be your spellcasting modifier.
Sorry.
No, you're good.
So up here somewhere.
Yep.
Spellcasting is 7.
So that'll be 19 to hit.
Okay.
You
and then
hit?
Roll the other one.
Okay.
Just in case you do a 20.
6.
Nope.
Okay, so now I
Roll
do
your damage.
2d8 psychic.
2d8 psychic.
Mm-hmm.
Half 1. But I roll with advantage, right?
No, not the damage. Roll it again. It's 2d8.
Oh. Sorry.
Which one are you striking? Which one? There's one with a crossbow further back. There's one right behind Tath and 2 right next to him.
I'm gonna do the one closest to me, so it would be one on his side.
On the left-hand side. Okay.
So I'm gonna strike him, and I only got 3.
But then you sneak attack damage, which I have no idea what it is. What's sneak attack damage for rogues?
It should be under sneak attack over here. It should be in the features somewhere.
Sneak attack 4d6.
Okay.
So 4d6. So that's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 15.
So
One
15
more
points of damage
One more
outright.
time.
Oh, roll one more time, yeah.
You only did 3. 18 points.
So 18 points of damage. So you walk up behind this orc and you just swing it through his leg. Your Shadow Blade appears as this dim, warbling warp of light that is like, it's almost like what you see when smoke or is above a fire, the shadow passing through it. And you cut through his leg and his leg completely falls off. And as he falls, you just cut his head off.
Yes.
This orc is outright dead. There's an elf on just about 5 feet away from you.
Super rad.
You are now visible.
Yes.
So they can see you.
I
And
can cast invisibility 3 times though.
yes.
Right?
Correct.
Say kills orc.
Yeah,
I kill the
she
orc.
killed the orc.
So then my
They have pretty low hit points in
Ooh.
armor class.
And then
I'm
it's
gonna
movement
all
speed.
4 orcs.
cunning action.
There are 2 elves and 2 orcs.
Oh,
The elf
sorry.
has a crossbow that's like he's about 10 feet back the other direction, and then there is 1 elf who is on the right hand side and an orc that's behind Tath, and now a cut up orc.
I'm gonna use my cunning action to dash away
Okay.
from them. What? I can only move 10 feet though.
You already moved 10 feet, so you can move 20 feet more.
So I'm gonna dash backwards 10 feet from them.
Okay, so you dash backwards 10 feet, so you
Yes.
are now 10 feet away from them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Towards one of these guys.
They're all like off to the left, so I wish I had mine. So here, let's
Want a
use.
piece of paper?
Yeah, please.
I'll have to reuse these.
Oh.
Here. Oops, sorry.
Sorry, I should have gotten my map out. I didn't. I thought it was going to be a little bit more dramatic with the meeting of
Purple.
Tath.
I don't know where that dice went.
Seriously, okay.
Okay, we'll figure
Where
it out.
that went.
Right here.
It should be
Yeah.
right underneath
Good.
you somewhere, because it had like,
So where would we go?
yeah, directly underneath you.
Okay, there you go. You're welcome. I got rid of one of them.
So that's a dead orc. This is a live elf here. There's an elf. And then there are Persephone, Lucy, Valken, the courier, and Minari's here. So Coltonia's in this chair here. Tath is in this chair here. This is the orc who killed Tath. This is the elf who killed this guy. This was the orc who killed this guy. Minari went from here, killed this guy, pew pew, back. You guys are here. And then there's some guards over here.
Yeah. Okay. Whose turn is it? Whose turn is it?
Your turn, Lucy.
Your turn. Go
Sorry, I'm gonna-
cast Wall of Fire.
Okay, where? Where? Show me on the map.
I
Use your pen.
You know what? I could do like a ring of fire. So right around.
It has to be a line, doesn't it?
No, it can be a ring or a line.
Oh, you're right. Ring of fire.
Maybe I
Ring
want
of
to
fire.
do. Maybe I want to do a line just to keep more people show up. Or how long does it last? I think it's only one turn.
No, I think it stays up. It's concentration. It should say at the top. It lasts concentration up to 1 minute, so it lasts
So
a
I can
minute.
keep it for
So it lasts
however many
60 seconds. That's 10 rounds.
I'm casting that right between us and those people.
Oh, to protect us?
Yeah, but they also take damage.
Oh.
Also, it's a one-sided spell, so you guys can be at the line of fire
Yeah,
and not take any damage.
Oh.
You guys can pass through it one time
Whoa.
without taking damage, but you can't pass back through it. They can't pass through it. Anything that goes, any projectiles that fly through it takes,
And the
it
side
goes with
that I
disadvantage.
choose, the side that I choose takes 5d8 damage.
Okay. So you cast it here. Okay. So
Okay.
So
Wait, so now we can't go through to.
I flip
You
my
can't
tail
go through
around and
going
I
through it. You
spin
can't come
around
back
and like fire just like comes out of my tail.
yeah. So like this liquid, magically liquid fire flies out of the tip of Lucy's tail, and it just like splays across the ground. They are all within 10 feet.
And it's like 10 feet tall,
Okay.
I think.
How did you?
What's the save on
20
that?
feet high,
When
one
he used
foot
my
thick.
shadow
Yeah.
blade,
What's the save on that for them?
chopped his leg off, and then when he fell, I chopped his head off.
There's no save it, they just take damage.
Oh, sick. That's so
They take
cool.
5d damage.
Holy shit! Go ahead and roll 5d8 damage.
If they're within
What's
10
that
feet.
spell called, Sarah?
Oh,
Fire.
If they're within 10 feet. How do you know what damage they take? I'm just
Whatever's
wondering.
on that side.
I'm wondering if you're gonna. Take
On
out-
one side of the wall, selected by you, deals 5d8 fire damage to a creature that ends its turn within 10 feet of that side or inside the wall. A creature takes the same damage when it enters the wall for the first time.
Question. So is it gonna attack all? Or is it gonna? It's gonna hit all the people we want to hit though.
There's no more people for it not to
Coltane is just outside
Isn't he
the 10
dead?
foot. This is like 10 feet right here.
Shoulder.
Yeah, this is like 10 feet right here. So if she casts this here, it'll be okay. Okay. This is all highly inaccurate.
Oh, I thought he was dead. Okay.
Coltane, well, you saw him get hit with a crossbow bolt. You guys don't know.
You don't know that he's
You
not
might
dead.
be bleeding out as we speak.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, so I'm casting that.
So this fire, wall of fire just erupts. Go ahead and roll 5d8 damage for me. 1, 8,
15.
21.
21. 27.
7.
Okay.
Did I add anything to that?
Nope, it should just be 5d8 damage, I think.
Yep.
Because it's not a like
It's
damage. It's not like a striking spell. It's like an
Oh, yeah.
effect, an area
area
effect
effect
spell.
spell.
Okay, so this orc catches fire and begins screaming. This elf dodges out of the way using uncanny dodge. He is on fire, but he pats himself out.
Oh, no.
What? They got the orc.
Now the orc is catching on fire and he is like screaming. He isn't he hasn't moved or anything like that. And this elf is completely caught ablaze and just immediately turns into like this like bleeding pile of blisters and falls over. This elf is dead. This elf, on the other hand, becomes visible as his invisibility. Well, he's still invisible, but he's also on fire. And two other, an orc here and an elf here,
Oh, they had a large. They had an armor.
Good choice.
become visible
Lucy.
and use warding spells. These guys have like a magical ward up. The elf like raises his hand and it protects these two against fire. But this guy is taking damage. This guy is dodged out of the way. Yeah, go ahead. Draw fire.
How much time has actually passed?
About 5 seconds.
Okay. So he's on fire. He's not. He is.
One whole round of combat for everybody
It's
takes
6 seconds.
10 seconds.
10 seconds.
Oh, okay.
Wait, I thought it was 6.
Excuse me,
for
6
attack,
seconds.
like-
It's 6 seconds for everybody to like do
Yeah.
their action.
I love it, Sarah. Thank you.
Those words are
That's
on
really
fire.
good fire, actually. I love it.
Really, I thought I like suck and direct fire.
Yeah.
No, I like it. Okay.
So, is Persephone next?
I think so.
Well,
That's
we'll
like
see what the bad guys do.
Oh,
Yeah, I don't know where
that
they
guy.
fall.
Alright, you see Elf 2 is dead. Elf.
Wait, which one?
This is Elf 2. Or this is elf 2 here. This is elf.
And his dead.
That's elf 4.
Just double checking. Is this a full elf, or do we know this is an orc elf?
They have pointy ears. You don't know.
Okay.
I mean, they're not green skinned. No, the elves are not green skinned, so they're not orcish. Excuse me. I forgot. Just for half a second. Because anything that is bred with an orc ends up with green skin. That's like, at the very least, they have
a defining trait almost.
Yeah.
Genetically.
They may not have the tusks or anything else like that.
Full elves.
But Persephone just looks like an elf with green skin. She's
They kind of look
Gamora.
like Christmas.
Yeah.
Not that kind of green, but also yes, that kind of green.
Green red hair.
Kind of that kind of, not kind of green.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so wow, Persephone, it's your turn.
Okay.
Oh, the bad guys don't do anything?
Well, they were going to, but 2 of them just got killed. So
So, Persephone is like in shock, A, and then B, if only that little amount of time has happened, regardless of how many people have now cropped up, she's going to be focused on the orc that stabbed her, or slit her brother's
the one that's on fire.
Yes.
Mhm.
So,
Or getting to her brother anyway.
right, I see her as like basically rushing forward, regardless of what that means, to head for her brother, and I think as she goes, tell me if this works, I think she's going to do Green Flame Blade,
Okay.
like as she's running,
Yeah.
right? Against that orc.
All right.
What is it? Oh, that's if you hit. Okay.
So you're gonna run up and make an attack with your green flame blade.
Yes, and then.
Is it an action or bonus action?
So it's an action,
Okay.
but then on a hit, the target suffers the attack's normal effects, and then the fire leaps from the target to a different creature of your choice.
But then she can also, bonus action, take a second attack.
And that's my thought, is that as she's going, so she's doing that,
2 attacks, basically, with
and
the
then
Perfect.
I would like to
have.
cast Hex as well. Can I do that, right?
If you cast hex, that's
If you cast Hex, you won't be able to attack him twice, you would only attack him once, which you can do.
Is hex an action?
It's a bonus
No, it's a
action.
bonus.
Oh, it's a bonus action. But yeah,
So
so
I was
you can.
thinking this and then that.
Yeah, so you
can
can
do
activate green flame blade and attack with your action, and then hex him, or you can hex him first if you'd like.
Yeah, Hex him first.
Oh. Can I do?
Hex him first.
It has to be the same creature.
No, you can hex whoever you want and attack.
Okay, well that's my. I thought I would hex
Hex him
attack
first.
him and then hex. I don't know this guy.
Okay. So go ahead and roll an attack. So Persephone runs forward, and as she's running forward, this wall of fire bursts into flame, and these orcs and these assailants are just completely set on fire. What's your to hit bonus though with your rapier? It's pretty high.
6.
So what's that? 14
Wait. Yeah.
against an
Okay,
orc whose AC is 13. You hit.
Okay.
Okay, so go ahead and roll all your damage.
1d8.
So she rushes forward, and as she bursts through the wall of fire, she remembers this new skills that she has, and her flame, like as her blade passes through the flame, it catches fire and turns green. And she strikes out and lashes into this orc, who is beginning to scream in pain.
7.
7. You should do green flame blade damage as well.
Oh.
Which it says a half of spellcasting ability modifier. So spellcasting ability modifier, so another 3.
3. So 7, 8, 9.
10.
Okay, so 10 points of damage. Nice. Okay, so you run up to this guy and you
He's
just
on fire and
slam your
fire.
blade into his stomach, and he is like burning, and he is like screaming, and then this magical flame is just like flaming sword is like stuck into his gut, and you are just like there, like in his face. You feel the heat of the fire behind you, but you are unaffected at the moment, and he is just like, oh, he's not dead, but he is like dying in your arms. And then you use your bonus action to cast hex at the elf here. Okay, so you turn and you reach out your hand and you point your finger and you cast hex. Do you say anything? Do you do anything? I don't know how you want to flavor hex. So
I think she's still just kind of yelling indeterminately, like, you know, she's still.
Is green like your eldritchy color? Is that the like because it's green flame blade, or is it? Do you have like a color preference?
No.
For your magic?
Probably maybe blue. Blue
Okay.
seems to be Persephone's thing.
All right, so your eyes blaze with a blue eldritch light, and you point towards this elf, and you just like the will and force of your anger casts towards him, and he is hexed.
Yes.
Okay, Falcon, it's your turn.
Wait, who's next?
This
Do I
elf.
This
need to
elf.
roll damage on that one? Or
No,
is that
this one.
and when it?
Next time, when he takes damage from you, he'll take hex
Oh.
damage.
So Persephone's now like right here.
Yep, this is now where she moved. Like,
It meant to draw a pentagram, but that's definitely the start.
All right, Valken's going to the hex person and attacking the elf. What does hex do, by the
Are
way?
you raged?
hex.
What does hex do anyway? I'm wondering if it does anything.
Let me pull
for
up
me.
her spells.
Place a curse on a creature that you can see within range. Till the spell ends, you deal an extra 1d6 necrotic damage to the target whenever you hit it with an attack.
Okay, so it's you.
Oh, I forgot to choose an ability. Choose
Yes,
one
please.
ability when you cast the spell. The target has disadvantage on ability checks, and I chose an ability.
What would you like him to be disadvantaged on?
You mean like blind, deaf, whatever?
No.
it is?
No,
No,
like one of
abilities.
these. One of
So
Your
it would
ability
be-
scores. So whenever he rolls like a strength save or a
Save,
dex save,
yeah.
What are elves typically good at?
Arcane.
dexterity,
Yeah.
Yeah.
wisdom.
Oh, that's true.
Charisma's-
Dexterity, because then any saving throws.
Yep.
Okay, then I want that one.
Okay, so he's dex disadvantaged.
Yes.
That's elf.
I'm.
Gonna attack which one? The hex elf or
I am going to rage on my way there. My raging one for now has switched to Fae.
Faye!
Yeah.
Okay. Alright.
Shucks.
Let's switch to what?
Oh gosh.
3 plus what to hit?
Oh gosh. 3 plus 7 to hit. First for the first attack.
10. So you like rush forward and you are like disoriented by this fire and that like springs up in front of you and you diverge from where Persephone's going and like this fire's blind and you like take a swing at him and miss.
Okay.
He is also in the midst of dodging out of the way of the fire, so it's all very kind of confusing. Because don't forget, all of your turns are happening in 6 seconds. It's pretty freaking fast.
All right. Now I'm going to try my second one.
Wow.
Natural 1.
Yeah.
You're just.
It's not your name.
Just
Go ahead and roll a.
It hasn't been my day for last battle either.
Go ahead and roll a dexterity saving throw for me.
You're too emotionally charged.
Yep. 4.
4 plus
Your dex.
saving throw for dex.
1.
Okay. So you trip and you fall, and your foot is still in the wall of fire as you run across it, and your foot is burning. Go ahead and
Step it out! Step it out!
Burning. I don't think I feel
take 3 points of fire damage on your foot. You are raging. You're not raging. Not for that part. You just take 3 outright points of damage.
I raged before I moved, but
Suck it.
okay. But yeah, okay, that's fine.
Okay, so the orc who is on fire is going to... The one that has his blade in his chest.
Yeah.
Is the blade metal?
Persephone's blade? Yeah, it's metal. It's like got green flame licking along.
I know what I'm doing there.
Oh.
Persephone did that.
I like always look for
But,
opportunities to do this.
I think that's a concentration spell too, though. So that would make your fire go bye-bye.
So, he rolled really low. He was attempting to strike at Persephone, but he rolled really low, and he had a single hit point left, and so he tries to slap at her, but instead he like reaches up and like grabs her like by the back of the neck, and like she just like
Get off me.
and she like pushes him back a little bit, and he like and like falls off of her blade, and like he is like cauterized shut, and shouldn't have tried to move probably.
Is he dead?
He's dead. Any movement with a single hit point is probably gonna kill you.
Yeah.
I mean, if you still have the blade in you.
Yeah.
Okay, the elf that is patting himself off fire is going to attack Falcon, who has just collapsed in front of him. He's going to take an attack of opportunity against you, and he's going to roll with advantage because he... Ooh, okay,
So pissed
20.
at you right now.
20 total to hit.
Yeah,
So,
it hits.
what was it, 23 to hit, yeah. Okay, so he reaches down and he stabs you. He stabs you good, and he's got a He's got a. Hold on, I'm so sorry.
I've not had a good battle.
1d6 plus 2. He stabs you with his long sword.
It's terrible how.
So he strikes you for 5 points of damage.
And that's after the half.
No, you're not raging, bro. You rolled a 1.
No,
and you fell down.
Bonus action before. I moved bonus action before. That's the first thing I did. Before movement.
Oh,
He said
okay.
I rage while I'm on my way there.
Oh, okay.
Uh-huh.
Sure.
It's a bonus action.
He hits you for 5 points of damage.
So is that half or not? Okay. So 3 points.
Until you regain your feet, I'm just gonna go ahead and say that your rage is real impotent.
Okay.
No offense. It's not like it's a ton of damage.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm just wondering what to write down. That's all. I'm wondering.
So it is now the mage elf's turn, and he's going to reach over and he's going to touch the orc on the arm, and you see this bright glow of like bluish, chilling frost cover this orc, and he is going to.
Who did what?
This elf reaches over and touches this orc, and
because they're behind their.
Yeah, they're behind their like shield wall of fire,
thing.
and this orc is now covered in like a thin layer of frost, and he's going to.
He's gonna go through your fire.
He's going to rush forward and he's going to attack Lucy. He's going to rush all the way through the fire. He's going to jump through. He needs to make what save for a wall of fire, please?
Move?
Nope. He's just going to. He's only like 15 feet away. This is like close quarters.
He takes damage.
He's just going to run past her. Yeah.
You done saving?
He takes another 5d8 damage.
I'm like, yeah.
But half as much damage for a successful save.
Okay. All right. For a successful
But he
save
takes
of
damage no matter what.
Dex.
dexterity. Okay. Okay. Yeah, he saves. Go ahead and roll 5d8 damage for me.
5?
Mm-hmm.
Where's that 5 go? 1, 9, 14, 20, 28.
28, 14.
14. Okay.
Not bad.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So this orc rushes, like bull rushes through. He like rushes just past Minari, who he doesn't even really notice because the fire is too hot, and he's just going straight for the large purple demon lady who cast this huge wall of fire. As he rushes through the flames, the chill touch that's upon him, like the cold armor, like explodes outward with ice shards, and it creates this momentary gap as he takes damage, and it strikes out with cold, and it creates this small gap for him to rush through without taking too much damage. And he rushes forward, and he takes a swipe at you with a great axe.
He's a dwarf? No,
He's an orc.
An orc. Sorry.
And he just misses. He got 13. What's your armor class? I doubt that he hits
Yeah, I
you.
know.
Governor.
That's pretty good.
So he rushes forward, and you see him coming, and you just step back and dodge out of the way, and the axe slams into the ground next to you, and he's going to make a second attack against you. Which is worse.
Mm-hmm.
You rolled a 9. So he takes his second attack, and he like swings it again, and you just like hop out of the way. You have just enough time.
I kick him in the knee and he falls over.
In just a moment.
Just a
I
moment.
like your idea.
So this guy is like
Lucy is ruthless.
So he stands there, he begins to move backwards a little bit, and he like stops before the fire. He realizes he can't pass through the fire again. So he is now standing in front of like Minari. So this orc like rushes forward past Minari, and then like to Lucy, and then steps back to next to Minari. So now he is there. Wow. Okay, the elf on the other side is going to raise his hand, and he's going to cast a firebolt at you, Lucy. And as he fires,
Fire, whatever it's called.
Nope, 3's not going to cut it. And it like dissipates into the wall of fire. Your magical fire is like so infernally hot that his firebolt is like consumed by it. It's not even like on the same scale of power.
What'd you expect, Elf? What'd you expect?
Well, Minari, it is your turn.
Okay, so I am right here, and
The orc is like right next to
oh
you.
darn it, he's right next to me. I am going to cast. Oh, I thought you were going to tell me something. I think I wanted to do something else, but I'll have to change that.
Was it horrible and you had to kill off her brother? So
That was pretty cool. I mean,
Yeah.
Faye would say that it's very cool. It's okay.
Good storytelling technique.
Amberly's reaction to bubbly water.
well, okay. Let me say it like this. He's really dead. It just doesn't matter with him. did describe him as having fancy armor, right?
Yes.
Totally not.
I'm gonna cast Booming Blade. And Booming Blade is actually a cantrip.
Yeah.
So
What?
Booming Blade's a
It
cantrip.
is.
Really? That's
Yeah.
You make
Okay.
a
yes. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Okay. Yeah,
So
that's why it's a
Booming
cantrip.
Blade-
For some reason, I thought it was a thunder wave, like a thunder wave
No.
hit, and I was like, "Excuse me."
No.
Okay. Yeah. Got it.
So-
Booming blade.
It's like
It's the one where if they move, they take the thunder damage.
Uh-huh.
Wait. Hold on. 1 second. I need you to roll a d20 real quick. Oh gosh. Never mind. He didn't notice you the first time he rushed past you, but he did notice you when he stopped next to you.
But I'm invisible. Wait, no, I'm not
no, you're
invisible.
not.
I was rolling to see if he noticed you, but he got a 4 and you got a 3.
Oh.
Just outright like contested checks. So.
Oh, does that mean?
Because I don't have full stats for these guys.
Oh, so I don't get a surprise attack or anything like that.
No, you don't get surprise attack or anything. But I guess if you went invisible again and then moved and attacked him or something, I don't know. It's all your choice. Don't
So I'm
do.
gonna cast Booming Blade on him.
Okay.
It is spells damage increases when you reach higher levels, and you started me at 7.
Yep. So you do the 5
A 5th level
levels.
melee attack deals extra 1d8
Just go to the bathroom and cry.
thunder damage to the target. And the damage the target takes from them increase to
Roll to hit.
I missed.
So roll to hit.
Mm-hmm.
I cast Booming Blade on the orc that's next to me.
Nothing.
If you strike
Did
him.
Lucy go?
16.
Yeah. No, not yet.
But I
Sorry.
did not get
The first
any
time.
damage.
She didn't take any damage. She dodged both of
16?
them.
16 hits.
Yeah, that hits.
Okay.
Go ahead and roll your damage. What?
And then my D.
I thought this was
First,
going to be.
first,
hard to
no.
hit.
First you do your
Oh, I thought this
first
was
you do
gonna be
your weapon damage.
Do my weapon damage. No. Short sword. 1d6 plus 5.
Uh-huh.
Wow. Okay.
1d6
plus 5.
Which one is it?
Because it's Dex modifier.
Yeah,
1d6.
it's a typical device.
So plus 5 is 8.
Now you do your booming blade damage.
My Booming Blade damage.
So rude. Excuse me.
Um.
I'm the rudest dungeon master.
If the target moves. Wait, stop.
If the target moves, it takes
Yeah, so
D8
it's,
thunder
so
damage.
It's stuck where it is, otherwise it takes 1d8 thunder damage and the spell ends.
No, you're 5th level, so you should.
The melee
it's more.
attack deals an extra 1d8.
So
thunder
2d8.
damage.
2d8. Okay. If it moves, 2d8.
So that's my action.
Yep.
Right?
Mhm.
So then I can't do anything else. He's just kind of stuck there.
Yeah, unless it moves. Go ahead and roll. I mean, if you have a bonus action, you want to. But you can roll your damage now if you want.
Well, I have my bonus action. My Shadow Blade is my bonus action.
Sure. I mean, you still have to roll damage. You hit him with the booming blade, but you still have to roll damage for the normal attack.
So 1d8.
He did. She did.
Oh,
It was 8.
Oh, it was just 8.
It was 8.
Okay.
Yes.
And that was on this orc?
That was on this orc next to me.
Oh, okay.
So then I am gonna do my cunning dash to move back. Let's see.
Fire's like.
Yeah, so I can't really go too far. So I'm gonna move back behind Lucy, or close to Lucy after that.
Like yourish.
Yeah.
Okay. So you stab him and run back to Lucy.
Mhm.
So you're like, you move like 5 feet. You like stab him and then like dodge out of the way.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else you want to do?
I saw my mage hand out, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So
As a note, I just always assume that it's up unless you specify that it's
Okay.
not.
So is there a way for
I
me
don't know why I'm bowing.
to? So
Courtesy.
if I hadn't used my bonus action, wait, no, I can always use it. So once I get back to her, can I use my mage hand again to disarm?
Mage Hand is a bonus action move. So,
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
If you used a bonus action for
My Shadow Blade.
Shadow Blade.
Then I would have used it.
So you can either use your Shadow Blade or you can use your Mage Hand.
My mage hand. Okay. All right, we're good. That's all I can do.
Did you use your Shadow Blade?
Oh, I didn't.
You haven't yet. You move 10 feet away. You can throw your Shadow Blade though. It's just
Oh my
a range attack.
gosh. I'm gonna So since I moved 10 feet away, I'm just gonna disarm him then.
Okay.
So I want to use my mage hand to disarm him, so that if he is stuck where he is and he has no weapon.
Okay. Go ahead and roll a sleight of hand check with disadvantage.
Okay. Whoa. So I have to roll twice.
Well, because the Mage Hand can't. Like, I could grab something stronger than 50 pounds of pressure with my hand, and the Mage Hand, like, normally can only lift 20 pounds, so
Okay.
even allowing you to do it is like a little bit of a faff. But I'm gonna let you because I think it's interesting.
Instead of this, I'm gonna tie his shoelaces together.
Oh, yeah. Go ahead and roll a sleight of hand check.
What's
9
Nikes?
plus 11.
He's probably wearing laced boots. Okay.
I want to.
Okay, so you grab. You don't really tie them so much as you like grab one of his bootlaces and like because you only have one hand that's there. You like grab one of his bootlaces and like pull it off and like you tuck it into his other boot and like loop it around a few times. So it's like
I'm like.
yeah. So he's like standing there. He's like ah, and then like as you're doing this, you like have your mage hand tying it, like looping it around, and he like doesn't really notice. He's like oh shit. And he's like oh.
Is this like the equivalent of being grappled?
No,
He's just fall over.
He's gonna have to make a dex save.
He has to make a save, and
Yeah.
if he moves, then he gets 1d8 damage.
Yeah.
2d8 damage.
If he falls over because he tried to like adjust his stance or
Yeah.
something. Which
Okay, so there you
probably
go.
doesn't
That's
happen.
what I did.
Okay, Lucy, it's your turn. What do you do?
Oh. Where is it? Well, I'm gonna go ahead and cast my elemental weapon. Wait, no. Pause.
Sorry,
That guy, he's
That's
like
the wrong one.
fair game right now.
Which one?
This guy, he's the one I have his shoelaces tied, and he's stuck.
Was he the ice shards one?
Mm-hmm.
He's the one that went through but can't get back through the fire.
I gotta find the right one. Sorry.
I know. I was there.
Which one are you reading? Wall of Fire again?
No. I was trying to find one that. Let's see. Magic weapon is.
You're only like 5 feet away. You can just run up and hit him with your hammer or
Yeah, I
whatever.
was forgetting about that.
You don't have
I'm
to.
not gonna hit him with my warhammer.
Okay, go ahead and roll an attack.
4.
4 plus.
What's the plus?
Right in the
Brain's
middle.
not working. Oh. Plus 3. So 8. No, 7. Wow.
Okay, so you like walk forward and you just like swing your hammer, and he like kind of like dodges backwards, but not quite dodging. He just like kind of leans to the side. Anything else you want to do? That was just your action.
I mean, bonus actions.
Yeah.
You can bonus action shove. Push him.
Haha.
Fire.
You totally should.
That's hilarious.
His shoelaces aren't done, and he didn't take instant
I don't
damage.
think I have shove.
No, that's an action.
Oh.
That's like a bonus
Well, then I
action.
should definitely
That's
just
it.
push you.
Okay, go ahead and roll a strength check.
Oh,
Grab
you
it out.
have it. Yeah, here. We can move this closer. It's your turn.
Oh, he rolled a 3.
I got a 5 plus.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So, so he like dodges out of the way of your hammer, and you're like almost lackadaisically swinging your hammer because you know what you're planning. He's like right by this wall of fire, and you like swing your hammer to like put him off balance, and he like dodges out of the way, and you just like push him, and you don't know that his shoelaces are tied, so he like leans back and like trips over his
He's gonna
shoelace.
take damage from moving, and then he's gonna fall prone.
Yep, I need you to roll 2d8 thunder damage, and then I need you to roll 5d8 fire damage.
4.
Can I just go ahead and say that he just falls over, and with a thunderous crash, there's just like this boom of sound and energy, and this wash of fire, just like hot fire, like this is the hot side, like blasts over Lucy, and she just like kind of like closes her eyes a little bit. She's just like, and this guy.
I'm resistant to fire.
Let me be more specific. Lucy is a tiefling who has resistance to fire magic, and she is a forge cleric who has resistance to fire magic.
She doesn't care about fire much.
The only fire that really hurts Lucy is like incantation fire. She could like walk through a burning building and be like, "Ooh, hope I don't get hit by a log," and like not give a shit. She like when she's in her forge, she like reaches into her forge and like pulls the metal out by hand, and she's like, "Squish, squish, not quite red enough," and puts
I
it
would not want to watch that.
Ugh.
She's literally
I
like
really want
the
that to
fire
happen
god.
though, so that the rest
I
of
don't
the
wanna watch
characters
that.
can be there and be like,
I really want Lucy to just like superheat some kind of metal and then just like drop it in a sawdust pile and just like burn somebody's house down or something, or like be on the second like we need a way out. How do we get out? And she's just like hold on, and she just like superheats this like ball bearing and like drops it through a few floors.
There we go.
Did you ever read? What was that from? There was some fantasy where they like one of the ways they torture people is they would superheat a piece of sand with magic and drop it in their mouth.
Ew.
They would like leave holes in their mouth or like
That's
down their throat.
terrible.
Yeah, it's not a
God.
great bad guy magic.
Ew.
Like, we can't heat, like, a large area very much, but we can heat a very small area very, very hot. Ooh.
That would hurt.
It's like molten glass mud.
Glass mud?
Slag, I don't even know. Okay, so this guy, like, just, like, poof, as he falls, like, explodes in energy, and his body just, like, crumples, and then he, like, falls into the fire, and this, like, fire, he's still, like, alive, but damaged, and then, like, this fire just begins to consume him, and his feet, like, kick a little bit, and you just see this blast of fire wash over Lucy as this guy falls through the fire. He's in this foot of fire. His, like, waist is at the foot of fire, and he's, like, being burned, and he doesn't even have enough life to scream.
7.
He's dead.
Oh god. That's
That's
not fair because that was really
He had, like, 8 hit points left, and there's no way
Well,
that you
I
guys will lower
got
than that, so. Okay, Persephone, it is your turn.
Go for 70.
Okay.
Somebody else, you're pissed.
Yeah. I can't remember. What was the end of this?
You haven't done anything against this guy.
Oh.
You stabbed this guy, and, like, cast hex on the other guy, and then Valken rushed this guy and fell over. This is the hex guy.
Right.
So you are and Valken are right next to each other.
So how does the heck? I don't understand that.
If you hit,
when you hit them, you need to take extra damage.
yes.
Oh,
And
so
if they
something
roll-
needs to happen.
And if they roll a dex save, they take disadvantage. So you
Okay,
still have to
then
hit
I'm
him.
definitely going after him.
Okay, so you
With-
it's like he's like 5 feet away. He's like the next guy over.
Yes, and he's what?
He's like 5 feet away. Like you have to move 5 feet to get within range.
The cool thing too is that because I'm a sentinel, if he actually attacks you and I can reach him, then invokes an area of attack of opportunity.
Still on the ground.
Oh well, once I stand up, which is the next turn.
Okay. So is Falcon in my way?
I mean, he's thick but lil. You could step. You could step over the fallen body of the dead orc here if you wanted.
Yeah.
That might be more convenient than going.
Okay. Then whatever I need to do to move closer.
So you like push the orc off of your blade with your foot, and he just like topples over and like bumps into the chair that Tath was sitting on, and you like step over his dead body and begin to strike at the elf.
Yes, and I'm still going to have my green flame blade out.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I think it's on until you turn it off.
Is it? Okay.
So.
Well, it counts as my action, so right? Doesn't it?
Well,
It is not.
let me have a peek so I can tell you exactly.
The green blade.
Sorry.
It's like her booming blade where it's a single attack.
Oh, I don't have it in my list
It
either.
technically, I got this guy with a hit, right? So then I can just have that flame leap.
That's what I thought.
Yes, you can.
Okay, leap to this guy.
You can. Yes.
The second creature takes fire damage equal to your spellcasting ability modifier. So 6.
So he just takes 6 points of straight fire damage. So he's like trying to get out of the way. He's like kind of on fire. Valken runs at him, slash. He takes a stab at Valken and he like buries his blade into it. And as he does, this splash of green fire licks off of Persephone's blade, arches over his friend and like splashes him right in the face.
And because
he, like,
it's hex, shouldn't he take extra necrotic damage or whatever that was?
Yeah, he'll take 1d4,
1d6.
1d6 damage. So go ahead and roll a d6 as well. So 4 plus
2.
So 6. So you take 6 points of damage.
And now your actual turn.
And now you can do your turn. Go
Now
ahead.
you get to do something. Okay, go for it.
Okay, so then she's going forward to also stab him with her blade still.
Okay, go ahead and make an attack.
11.
Plus.
Plus this.
Yes.
Okay. So 7.
Okay, yeah, so you strike him. Go ahead and roll damage.
Again. Oh, wait. Eight, 2 plus 3.
Okay. He still has Hex on, so he should also have an extra d6 as well.
So roll your hex damage as well.
So another d6. That's what
6.
That's what the spells are for. Yeah, you just did like 11. You just doubled his damage. Awesome. Okay. All right, so
Hey.
you walk up to this guy and he like is dodging out of the way. He stabs Valken. You like he gets splashed in the face with fire, and like the next time he sees you, you're like coming up and you just like cut him across the chest, and he just got this like, and then he's like, oh, that's not too bad, and then the hex hits him, and he just like, and like his body like contorts a little bit, and like his chest like pulls apart, and this blue eldritch energy like arcs around and like makes all these extra cuts and like deepens the lacerations heavily, and he like you see his internal organs like slice apart, and he like and he just like collapses over in front, and now
So did he hit 0 hit points then? If he's dead?
he's dead.
So then I can use my bonus action now as to curse a new creature.
Yes.
Yep.
Yay!
Transfer hexes.
Well,
So then as soon as he's dead,
Percy.
he's turning and cursing, who's the nearest one? This one?
Mm-hmm.
Alright, that one. Plus they've got a
This guy,
protection, right?
this
Which
one of
one
these
is
guys
dead?
was over.
He's over
here.
there, but this one's still behind the...
These two are, yeah. That's the mage guy, and this is some person.
Yeah,
Okay.
he's just another. He hasn't done anything yet.
So then I'll hex him then.
Okay.
Transfer hexes.
Transfer
Yeah.
hex. So this guy is now. Magic. Why is this so hard? I should have just got. No, it's poking through that.
Oh,
This guy's dead. Okay, so you are now here, Persephone.
okay.
God, this is a bad map. I need to really just bring out my map next time. I'm so sorry, guys.
Every time. I love it.
Okay, so Persephone's turn is over. Valken, it is your turn. You
I'm
are
gonna
still
use
laying on the ground.
My movement to stand up.
Use half your movement.
Half my movement to stand up.
Okay.
And then I'm gonna. First thing I'm gonna do is
You're like 5 feet away from that guy.
yeah, I was gonna say I'm gonna attack him
Okay.
twice, obviously. 16.
Hits him.
Yay! I did something.
So this guy like turns towards Persephone and feels this blue eldritch energy. He sees it like dash between his falling ally and strike him, and he's kind of confused. And the next thing he sees, the dwarf is on his feet and striking at him. He does some kind of damage.
A lot, actually. 6.
With Valken's regular output, I'm pretty sure this is going to be enough.
I was gonna say 6 plus 9 plus 6 plus 3.
23, 26.
26.
So, as you walk up and approach him, he just like it's like looking down at this energy, and you just run your blade straight through him, just samurai style, and you just turn it, twist it in him, and you rip it out, and his blood splatters across the ground, and he falls limply on his back. He
So all that's
is
left is a mage guy.
dead,
All that's left is a mage guy.
and it is his turn.
Oh
wait, no, there's-
bonus action.
Oh yeah,
Can we pause for like just a second?
We can
I'm
totally
trying to
pause.
Catch
yeah. Where are you at?
up. Persephone stabs herself and
Transfers the hex.
transfers hex.
Oh, she's taking like official notes,
She's
man.
taking great now.
I'm sorry, is that
No,
too
that's-
much?
no,
She's
it's not.
inspiring me.
Inspired. Give her an inspiration.
I'm
No.
inspired.
Well, because sometimes we do really cool stuff, and I'm
Wanna
Wanna
I
remember it.
remember it.
Yeah, like me tying someone's shoes. and-
Yes, and I wrote that down.
I was gonna say that's super good.
Stabs, transfers hex.
I'm going to. I'm actually just going to use the rest of my tiny little movement, stand right in front of that guy, and I can't attack because obviously it's a multi-attack on the same person, right? That's the way multi-attack works. Or can I attack? William?
Yes, I'm
I don't
sorry.
know- I don't know mechanic question.
What mechanic question do you have?
When I have multi-attack, can I attack once more, or does that have to be the same person?
I think you can attack once more because you just have a second attack outright.
I have it. I have the second
Multi-attack is 2 attacks on the same creature, except unless it's Horde Breaker or
It's a-
Ranger
yes,
Specialty.
yes.
But you can use your second attack on something else, but you can't use your multi-attack
Yes.
on something. Yeah, so you can use your bonus action, or not your bonus action. You can use
Okay,
your
I'm
second
gonna-
attack.
I'm gonna use. Walk up to the dude.
You stabbed the hexed elf.
I stabbed
This
him.
one, and killed him,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, he did. I'm gonna walk up to the mage, and then
That's the
attack-
last bit of your movement.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'm gonna attack him.
Okay, go ahead and roll to hit.
And the same exact thing, so 16.
Okay, so he raises his arm, and a magical shield appears in front of him and strikes out. And your blade just like, this heavy, magically enchanted marble-looking blade just like crashes into it, and it like shatters and like staggers him back, and he like drops to one knee.
I can do that too.
Yep.
I'm going to, with my bonus action, cast, I don't remember the name of it. Booming Blade, where he can't move past me.
Booming?
I don't remember what.
Oh, you mean your lightning lure? Your lightning snare?
Thank you.
Okay, so he can't move past you towards. So the way it works is, if you are here, Valken, you cast it in a circle around yourself. What was it, 15 feet we decided? And anything that tries to move beyond you in those 15 feet will have to make a save.
I mean, it's kind of not necessary because if you tried to move, he would evoke an attack of opportunity anyway. But
true. I'm sorry. I need to pull up my spellbook because that's just like we built a custom spell for him.
Lightning Lure, is that right?
Yes. I'm sorry. I don't remember all the specifics. It was like 2.5 weeks ago. Lightning.
Cast it around the
snare. Lightning snare.
Lightning snare.
Excuse me. It's an evocation.
Yes.
Which one's still alive?
The only one that's still alive is the one I'm facing right here.
This guy
This
here,
mage.
right?
No,
this one.
This one.
This one behind his shield.
This one here.
Yeah.
Mage.
Jeez, I made that better.
Okay, you can't do this. It's an action, and you already used your action to attack.
Oh, I thought you switched it to bonus action.
It's an action if it's a cantrip, and it's a level 1 if it's a bonus action.
What?
So cantrip, you can cast it as many times as you want.
That's what I thought you said.
But it's an action.
Oh.
If it's a bonus action, then it gets to be a level 1 spell. So you already used your action to attack, so you can't cast this yet. Okay. So you walk forward to this elf, and you stand there and strike at him, and it like staggers him down, and he is going to use Misty Step.
Oh, he
turns ethereal, and he spins around, and he is going to move past you. He's going to try to run right past you all.
Past us?
Yeah, he's going to try and move through you. Like towards the camp. Okay. Okay. So as he is moving past you, as he's moving past Persephone, he is this like ethereal mist, and you like try to swing at him with your sentinel, but your blade swings right through him. He is like in ethereal. He can't be touched. He's literally like a fog cloud, and he is rushing past Persephone, who like turns and is like glaring at him, and he is rushing past the corpse of Tath on the ground, and he is about to pass the table when suddenly Tath's hand reaches up and grabs his foot, and it clutches him, and his glove glows a bright purple, and he grabs his foot, and where he grabs becomes physical again, and the elf trips and falls flat into the table and smashes him. And you see Tath like lifts his head up, and his neck is still open, but it is like, and you see the 2 gemstones that are on his pauldron, a red and a blue, are like glowing brightly. In the middle is like this bright purple aura around him, and like in his neck it is like healing up, and he goes like like wheezes out through his throat, and like some blood like spurts out.
Guys, what are you trying to do to me?
And like it is slowly healing up. It's not like going very quickly, but he like is holding on, and this elf trips and falls, and he lets go and like falls over. And as this elf trips and falls, you see Coltane roll out from behind a table with an arrow in his, like a bloody crossbow bolt, and he grabs the elf by the head, and he just slams the crossbow bolt down through his skull and shoves it into the ground, pinning him through the skull into the grass below.
Coltane's a fucking bad.
Yeah.
Coltane, it has like blood just like pouring down his chest. I did describe some fancy armor.
You did have
with gemstones and all that.
gemstones and runes and all that stuff. Is that it?
That's the combat.
Okay.
You guys did it.
Okay.
Nobody took a hit. Nobody even got hit.
I got hit.
Okay, Valken laid down and let people stick a blade in his ass. Okay, it's not.
Oh, that's the word.
Tath is lying there gurgling on the ground, and
I'm
The-
gonna run towards Tap.
Wait, hold on. I gotta catch up. Percent flat onto the table. And see, now I'll remember because now I have to like stop.
Yeah, you guys do. I gotta go bathroom anyways.
Me too. When you're done, I'm going in.
Chain.
Are both monsters on?
As far as I know, yeah, I put you better in one. And the other one's tucked in.
It might
I
be.
normally can see him.
I wonder if it's gonna be too dumb to try and take notes like this because of slowing us down a little bit.
No.
No, it's
And
great.
or we do record them,
Yeah.
but I don't know.
Well, and this is, I mean, even if it were just for you, it's totally fine. Like,
It's not like it's
I'm really, like, literally, like,
We're now so into the story that I want to know it. And
Yeah.
remember it, you know?
Yeah, I feel like you taking notes actually helps me remember it better, even though I haven't like read your notes, but
Right.
But
Yeah. Well, and then, like, the whole recaps that you do.
Thanks.
very helpful.
Where did Coltrane stab you? He was stabbing.
Through his
the-
neck,
through
through his
his
ear,
skull.
basically.
through his skull with
Ear to ear.
and pegged him into the ground.
With
Yeah.
was it with the crossbolt that was in
Yes.
his shoulder?
Yes.
So he ripped it out and
Slammed him into the ground. Just pins him to the ground with, through his eyeballs. Through his ears. He's not dead. He's not dead.
I'm so excited.
I was really surprised that he killed him.
I know. That was a shocker. Well, and I think it's worse too when, like you guys just learned that this brother of hers is also a twin.
Yeah.
For some reason, like when in Harry Potter, when like Fred dies.
Oh, so
It makes it
sad.
Right?
What happened?
And, no, we were just talking about like you're surprised that you'd killed
That's
Tath. Oh, sorry.
Oh
and
yeah.
then that, and I said, we were talking about like I was like,
How much worse it is for twins
yeah,
for one to go on.
like that to me is more striking. It's not just her brother, but it's also like there's something more about that. Yeah, yeah.
We've also had you having twins for like a year now. Like having your brothers are twins.
Oh yeah,
So like you have
I
a whole year, even though we've never mentioned them in session.
no.
Persephone
no.
knows about them.
Yeah, so I am feeling very emotional.
Brother off that.
What?
So I wouldn't kill your brother off permanently like that.
Oh.
Eh,
Yeah,
Don't worry.
you might.
It's coming.
I believed it.
It's coming.
Shit.
he's dead.
I don't want to say
He's
that.
alive. Oh wait, no, he's dead now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just gonna throw out every single emotion I can into it.
Grail, dead.
So, you guys good?
Almost.
She's doing writing.
I thought I had it, and I remembered something else.
I'm on my own. That's terrible. Ugh.
Honey, that's the kind of honey.
Is it? Oh, maybe it's just the salsa that makes it taste bad then.
Could be.
You could still get your own.
I'll just do first.
See, Aaron is not just sweet.
It's just that William drinks and eats stuff way faster than I do, so I'm not really excited about sharing because I don't get very much. I would agree, right? Like I want to
I'm a whale.
savor whatever I'm eating. I don't.
Oh, whoa.
I don't want to have regret when I'm eating. You're such a brat. I'm not quenching it.
Do you savor it so much that that you have cups of water just everywhere?
You stay out of it, mister.
Battle of the sexes here. Let's just,
Oh,
I'm gonna go. You have fun,
because
Aaron.
I have an artist brain and I can't keep track of these things. Does not mean I don't enjoy it.
All caught up on your notes,
I am.
chronicler.
Yes.
Chronicler.
That's what I was thinking too. You can't say words without us jumping.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so
Bob.
Oh, yeah. Did it again. I'm literally reading that book right now as we speak.
Oh, Dresden. Jesus. Yeah, Bob. Never mind. Okay.
I was like, really? That's the one you picked?
Tony.
Hmm.
Yeah, I got nothing.
Okay.
Okay.
I like Pretty Pig Bob.
Dumb.
Literally the one I'm reading.
Realizes that obviously everybody sees Tath, so she's going to basically run over to him and like drop to her knees.
Okay, so you run over to him and you see his neck was like cut like ear to ear almost, like huge knife gouge, like except for his spine, every tendon and like muscle was in there, and it is mostly sealed up, but there like his arteries are sealed up, but there's like this hole. It's like patched, but he's
still
like
having trouble breathing.
he's breathing through his neck here. It's like a tracheotomy, like, and it's like closing up slowly, but the light of the gems is fading.
We need a healer.
Lucy!
But he's not at 0 hit points, so there's nothing I can do.
You don't have any
I don't have.
healing spells?
They have to be dead.
I have Spare the
Yeah,
Dead.
healing word.
Where?
One.
Oh, for fuck's sake. I
know you're cleric, so you have 50 spells. I only have to keep track of 4.
Okay.
Do you use healing word?
Yes. Of course.
Okay, go ahead and
It's just 1d4 plus spellcasting ability modifier.
do you have like a key phrase, like a magic phrase that you say to heal him, or do you just say like
Oh.
Healed.
okay, so she's just like Lucy, and she turns her head.
I'm just like, here you go.
By governor's ass.
By the Lord Governor. That I want to call. I might have tried the other name.
By governor's holy ass, be healed.
Okay, so so she turns and she says her magic phrase. We're gonna work on that. We're gonna work on that in our
I just want to play.
insert magic phrase here.
I want to play a very vulgar cleric, and so I'm like, by governor's hairy ass, be healed.
Oh God. Okay.
That'd be the greatest.
So you look at him, you use your magical phrase, and the your magical essence closes up the last bit of skin around his throat, and you see his Adam's apple come back in his shape, and he like takes a deep breath, and right as he does, the purple energy like flares up, and one of the gems on the pauldrons cracks and like shatters a little bit.
He used
still
to
has
like.
another one, and he like lays there gasping, and he, it's breath. Oh fuck.
I'm suffering, you gotta like laugh through your tears.
Okay.
Like in relief, like you know.
Okay, yeah. I know.
Okay. I'm gonna swing by the
Where's my
dead
pencil?
elf orc here and see what he has on his person.
Okay, go ahead and roll a Whoa, my brain literally, I just got super dizzy.
Investigation.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, investigation, please.
Because you were breathing that way.
It was because I was breathing that way.
19.
Okay, what's your investigation plus?
Investigation.
A pauldron or like the shoulder?
Intelligence plus
Pauldron. Paul.
Plus 4, 23.
23.
Paul, yeah. 23. One moment, please. You're just searching that orc?
This one for now because he's my closest one.
You find 6 gold pieces, 3 silver pieces, 8 copper pieces,
6, 3, 8.
a great axe, if you'd like it.
Can I even carry a great axe?
I mean, no.
I'm gonna drag it behind me
What's your strength?
as I leave.
What's your strength?
16. Wait,
Yeah,
my
that's
strength.
right.
Sell it as
Yeah, I guess. So
14.
I'll ask somebody else.
Your
if they
strength is
want
14?
That's what it says.
You can slowly drag it behind you.
Okay,
Yes,
so.
it's like twice as tall as you.
Alright, so 6, 3, and 8.
6 gold pieces, 3 silver pieces, 8 copper pieces.
Okay.
The great axe, he had leather armor, but it's pretty crispy.
Okay, what else? Anything else?
You find some like other scraps of maybe rope. You can't exactly tell in his pockets. He was in fire, on
I
fire,
know.
burning up. Not much. You find like
Okay.
the gold pieces themselves are like they're kind of like stuck together from the
stuck
heat.
together.
The silver and copper are fine, but like the gold is kind
Okay, I'm
of
gonna
fused.
just pop those anyway.
It's kind of like a stack of gold.
Okay, but I'm gonna drag the great axe behind me.
Okay, so like she's like weeping over her brother, and you're like,
Just like
I'm having this with me.
walking towards everybody. Everybody needs an axe. Is there anybody else on the way that's dead?
I mean, there's like 5 other people.
I wanna check the mage elf.
Oh, the one that Coltane killed?
Yeah.
Coltane is
Oh, wait, he's
already
probably-
rifling in his pockets.
He's
Coltane, he's kind of like got his arm like kind of hanging a little limply, but he's like searching through his pockets.
Yeah. Does anybody want to heal Coltane? I don't have any.
His guards are like already around him. They were like just far enough away to not be a fucking help in this 12 seconds of combat.
Who's the next closest guy? Sorry.
I mean, from here,
Your feet reach so far.
like
I
these guys,
know.
they're all like in a pile.
We're all like stretch out.
I was like, is that you, Aaron?
Probably the one that Aaron
He's an Aaron.
I'm gonna go to Dante and see what he's got.
Hey, Aaron. Oh, hey, Aaron.
York and this elf are the only ones that aren't crispy. This one,
All and more for
Is,
playing footsie, my dear.
this one is a little bit more crispy, but so these two. This one is over here now at Coltane, and the orc is still over here.
Okay, I'll check the orc.
Okay, so you
I'm gonna drag and drop the little axe near the table though where the guys
the
are.
big axe.
The one I dropped.
So you like walk over to where Tath is lying recovering and Coltane is searching, and like they both stop and like look at you as you like drop this like 45-pound great axe. And you turn around and you like march away.
March away, I'm gonna march away.
Go ahead and roll another investigation check. Anybody else doing anything? I mean, you're weeping, you're healing, you're.
10 plus
Am I right?
14.
And then I can rummage
14.
I'm very concerned about Persephone over here. So I went with her.
Okay, so you are.
I'm not like emotional like she is, but I'm keeping an eye on things.
Okay, so you are like there. You have like your sword out and ready. You're kind of like, what the fuck? There's invisible people. I don't know what's going on. I just killed a bunch of guys. There's a bunch of blood everywhere. Fire. I smell smoke.
A bunch of guys is a little exaggeration. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, you did kill a bunch of guys. She did.
Yeah.
And she did.
I damaged a lot of people.
Okay, do I find anything on that orc?
Yeah, you find 3 silver pieces, but you are kind of distracted. It's like you don't really get like a thorough search,
That's fine.
and he's like completely drenched in blood.
Okay, I'm gonna go back to the party.
Is there anywhere else?
Anyone else?
Oh, anybody detect magic?
I can.
Cast detect magic.
Is there anybody that Lucy
Oh, it is a ritual raid.
Oh.
Hmm?
Anybody that Lucy can
Well, you're a little busy right
Can
now.
what?
I'll detect magic.
You mean
Yeah, there's a bunch of people who caught fire and stuff. You guys can, if you guys want to make like a general
I
search.
can also dispel it if
Excuse me.
there's more.
Magic.
Mm-hmm.
You want to make an investigation check to see what you find.
Sure. What do I do?
Roll a d20 at your investigation.
It's under intelligence.
16.
16. Okay. You find there are 2 more great axes and a couple of long swords that are all still in pretty good condition. You think you can use the metal for
Can I
your?
put them in my trunk?
Certainly, your trunk's not with you at the moment, but certainly you can. You can collect them all up in like by the rope or something. You have.
Can't I whistle for my trunk and it will come here?
Can you whistle out loud?
It's magical. It doesn't matter.
Well, it needs to hear you.
Yeah, you have to be within hearing distance.
There we go.
That's as good as it gets.
Okay. You certainly whistle.
Okay.
You certainly whistle.
Alright, so now
Duncan's like, yes.
have you
yes.
checked for magic or dispelled magic?
I was gonna say, what did you guys decide to do anything, or are you?
I haven't.
I think we should check
Your
for
brother like slumps down and he like looks to the side and he sees his dead companions and his eyes just like kind of like flitter
what
and
are
he, like,
the-
he passes the fuck out. He's
What
like
are the
unconscious.
other
He's
dragon
awake,
people
but
doing?
he's not awake. He's alive, but he is like exhausted. The Dragonborn have like, or not the Dragonborn, excuse me. The orcs have like rushed over, and there are like Dragonborn and orc patrols that are seeing this conflagration happen. I mean, this happened in about 15 seconds, and they're like
There's gotta be
100
more
yards
people.
away. They're like coming, and they're coming fast. It's about to be a very busy place, and by the time that you are done, like you've brought the axe over and dropped it and searching, there are probably 20 or 30 guards running around and rushing around and making a fuss of things. Coltane is like pushing them back. He's found like some like papers and stuff inside the coat of the mage, and he's found a couple of alchemical.
What was this?
Coltane like looks up at you. And he's like, it seems to be an assassination attempt, if I were to guess. And he like is like with one hand like flipping open this like piece of paper, trying to not get all blood on it. And he looks at it.
Hey, where's that courier?
The courier is like off to the side, kind of like nonchalantly standing there. He's like, "Hey, you are really aware of the fact that like you didn't notice him. Nobody really noticed him. He like
does he turn invisible when there's in conflict?
Really?
Couriers don't fight. They run. They curry.
They just run away.
Their goal is not to combat. Their goal is to deliver messages and to report."
Does he go invisible?
You didn't see.
Does Persephone know the answer to that?
Go ahead and roll a history check to see if you know.
Wait. If he's gone?
No.
Oh, definitely not.
One of the things Persephone has always tried to figure out is what the fuck couriers do to be so discreet and inobservable. Many of the skills and talents that Persephone developed, she developed by following around the palace courier and trying to find out how he slips away from her. It became this like game where like the palace courier, knowing her, this older man, probably 67, 68, old man, like hobbling through the castle, and then she'll turn a corner literally like a second after he does, and he will be fucking gone. And she is like the sneakiest one around. She's always like hiding out and playing tricks and stuff. And this guy like loves playing these hide and seek games with her. And the next second she'll see him going like another hallway or two down, and she's like, "Excuse me?" Couriers have some very specific, very specialized skill sets.
They're just available. You just wait around for them to show up. Don't tell me you had to get trained.
The courier is there, and he's just kind of like got his dagger out a little bit. He's not really like looking like he's gonna fight. He still looks like super chill, super calm, very relaxed. But he's like just kind of watching. He's got kind of a smile on his face. I get the feeling the more relaxed they get, the more on edge they are.
All right.
So Coltane is sitting there reading the letter, and he like finally like grunts, and he like hands it off to Persephone. You take the note, and it is a notation of instruction, and it is specifying that Coltane and any who attends his meeting are to be killed. No signature. The handwriting is perfectly like legible, but completely indeterminate of sex, gender, race, origin, anything. It's just written in on common pieces of paper. You can't determine anything.
Who's at what meeting? At the meeting that they were having?
The meeting they're having.
Wait a second. So he got a paper from the person who died next to
The mage.
stating that whoever was at this meeting
an assassination on any
Coltane, specifying Coltane, his aides, and whoever appears for this meeting were to be assassinated.
Oh.
They're trying to stir
Well, I want to know if I see what seal was on the envelope. Was there a seal on the envelope?
It wasn't an envelope. It was just like a folded piece of like paper, and it just said like.
Was there a header on it?
Nope. It was like a scrap of small rectangular scrap of paper, just like a plain old scrap of brownish, whitish paper.
Okay.
Common. Doesn't look special. Doesn't look unique, as far as you can tell. I mean, you could try to like know about that stuff if you have proficiency in. Yeah.
Investigation?
Investigation, yeah, I guess.
Okay.
Unless you guys have anything else you think might. Like proficiency in Arcana to see if it's magical, or proficiency in history to see if you know.
I was gonna say
inks or papers or stuff.
I was thinking the exact same thing. I was like, Balkan in his very worldly ways. No, I'm kidding. Sarcasm.
I'm gonna.
Excuse me.
I'm gonna see if the ink is dwarven, or seems dwarven, like something I would use.
Was there anything else?
It seems like ink.
What?
So it seems like it.
I don't know what you mean by dwarven ink, but okay.
Dwarven ink.
Well, sure. I'm sure that.
Dwarven language. So he just takes a piece of paper out of a satchel or whatever this guy has.
Like a pocket.
A
He's
pocket.
rifling through his pockets.
I'd like to see what else the elf has from a distance. I'd like to see what he's wearing and if he has any pouches on him.
The elf is wearing, like, the mage. He is wearing, like, several belt pouches around his chest, but he is wearing, like, a brown leather jerkin, like a small
Are
cloak
all of these
thing.
elves?
No, there are.
There
are 4 elves and 4
Does he have
orcs.
does he have any pins or earrings or anything like that on him?
Anything identifying?
I'd like to know.
Roll an investigation check for me.
19.
He does not. He very specifically
Oh, he's not.
does not. So specifically that you see that on several of his fingers there have been rings that were removed. He has tan lines, or like white lines, where rings were removed from his person.
Okay.
Like, you note it, like,
He's
it's pretty specific that he
he's
has
anonymous
no identifying markers. His clothes
Or
are very
scars?
well made. Not from just like general
scars on his face.
general observation. You don't see any scars on his face or hands. I mean, a few like nicks and cuts and things, but like nothing that like be noticeable. Very bland, plain old blonde elf.
Blonde?
Well, yeah, the elves are blonde.
Oh, okay. They are?
For the most part. The orcs are the one with
Full elf.
interesting colors.
Or-
Full elves
Full
are.
elves.
The elves
okay.
are the only like semi-traditional race I have in the game, and so like pretty much if you can imagine an elf from Lord of the Rings, it's
Legolas.
yeah basically what they are. I
Um,
was like, one of the races
They had
has
all
to be the
different hair
same.
colors.
yeah.
So I didn't
Do they?
realize they were all.
In Lord of the Rings? Oh well, I imagine they're all
Yeah, I
I mean,
think Elrond.
Well,
I was
Oh,
gonna say
yeah.
Elrond, and then
Yeah.
the
Obviously
blonde from
the-
or the redhead from the new movies.
Mhm.
and
Tariel.
then the whatever.
Who's a
Whatever her
great
name is.
character if it wasn't such
Galadriel?
a weird set
Yep.
of movies.
No, not Galadriel.
Huh?
She is blonde.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, they're all made up. Huh? Galadriel's blonde.
I know that's what I said.
Okay, so
What?
do we need to
Celeborn
regroup,
is
guys, or are
too.
we gonna follow her with Tath?
Do we need to give him some like, or do we need to get him in a bed or?
Please.
He's stable and breathing. He is alive and not unconscious, like dead unconscious.
It's very
He's
busy
just
around here. There's people everywhere.
exhausted.
I am. Are we in a clearing?
Yeah, you're like in a large it's like a hilly terrain. So there's like hills with like forests on the top of each hill, like little stand of thick trees that are like birch or maybe alder. You haven't actually gone and like looked at them, Minari, but it is like obscuring your line of sight in all directions. But you guys are camped out in like a large hollow where there are no trees, and you guys are like meeting in between two large hills with trees at the top. And there are soldiers up in those trees that you can see, and they're watching the proceedings, and they have patrols.
So
and
the
stuff.
army knows what happened or saw.
There was
Yeah,
like probably
it was-
200 guards that were here and saw this assassination attempt, and like the
It was
fire.
only the 4 horsemen who came forward, basically.
Yeah, and then everybody else was giving everybody like a respectful distance. Basically, you guys were supposed to be, or not supposed to be, but like you guys were his like party and attendees, and like
Right.
they didn't know anybody else was there. Nobody thought to.
So we don't need to tell. The point is, we don't need to send somebody back to the army to say this is what happened.
No, word is already probably passing around, and like I said, there's probably like 24 soldiers that are like already on the scene, and like many more are noticing and approaching, and they're setting up lines in a defensive perimeter, and they're.
This
Who
would
would
be
want
the
to kill
time.
your father?
This would
brother?
be the time if you do want to vanish and you want to not deal with this. This would be the opportune time. But if you need to return home, you have my allegiance.
Thank you, Valken. For now, I think I'm going to get my brother into a bed.
And Persephone's still like crying.
Yeah.
Bawling
She's
her
like
eyes out.
crushed. Like, that's a lot of emotions in like 5 seconds.
I mean, the last time Persephone saw her brother, he was 13 years old.
Oh man, yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Yeah, let's carry him. I'll help carry him to bed.
Coltane is standing up and like leaning against the table. He's like pushed off several of his soldiers at this point who have tried to like help him stand up. There's no medics on hand other than Lucy, who just used a spell to heal up.
Stabilize,
Yeah. So he like pushes back the soldiers, and he's like, "No, I'm fine." And he's like, "I see no reason why we should keep our guests out beyond the defensive perimeter of the camp." And he like nods to several of his soldiers, and he's like, "Please gather these soldiers, escort them in full honor. Take them to." And he like nods, and like they are already like moving, and he like, "Come, we must go." And he like turns and like he's not staggering, but he's like obviously exhausted. Like he took a crossbow bolt, like a heavy crossbow bolt, from like 15 feet away in the shoulder. He is like fucked up.
Question. So did you say the ruby that was, or the stone that was on him fell off or exploded?
It cracked, so it's like still in its setting on his pauldron, but it's like cracked and like broken.
Okay.
So it like if it wasn't glued into that setting, it would have fallen out, and probably some shards did, but like it is like stuck in there still. The broken gem, yeah. You could probably find some glass shards or some shards in the grass if you decided to look. I don't know. I wouldn't do it. Seems like a stretch. Okay, well, so you guys head back to the temple district, or the temple ward. Well, not the temple ward, excuse me. You've left the temple ward. You guys head back to the commanding center of the camp. Your brother and his... You.
It sounded like that.
Your brother and his attendees were taken into the Medica tents, and Tath is put on one side. The corpses of his friends are stacked. There's still one, though the man with the horses is trailing behind. Like, he looks like devastated and pissed. He looks relieved that Tath is like alive, but like he's obviously like.
Was that one of the ones that with him?
Yeah, he was.
They died. There's one alive?
Yeah, there's one alive. He was rushing forward with
Wait, so there were 4?
There were 4. Your brother, 2 others. Your brother and the 2 others came forward, and the other one was holding the horses about 100 yards away, or 100 feet away.
Okay.
He was closer than most people, but far enough away that he couldn't get there. He is leading the horses along, and he is left at the picket lines where they leave the horses.
So if my brother is settled, then I want to ask him.
Your brother?
Yeah, my brother is settled.
Your brother's asleep, yeah.
Right, yeah, but I mean, he's in his bed and he's settled, or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then, so I want to ask him, well, basically, who were the others who came with him, who died? The bodies here.
The young man, he looks to be of a much lower status. He's not like in the gilded armor and the beautiful stuff. He's very much like a horseman, but he's got like a short bow and a short sword. He's wearing soldiering gear. He's obviously like a warrior, and he's well trusted by your brother. He introduces himself as Ambus Buck, and he.
Is Hannah done?
No, she's just checking on the girls. Alice is sounds like whining in her sleep.
Oh, okay.
I don't have any good names. I got like 32 names here. Okay, I found 2 there. Okay. And he tells you that the one who died, or the 2 who died, one of them was named Anaric, or Anaric, probably. Anaric. Sorry. And the other one was named Sumesha.
Sumesha.
Sumes.
Sumes.
H-A, Sumesha.
Okay.
I'm just trying to...
Of where?
Of the Duchy of Annalyn. Like they were...
And she didn't know them?
No. They were soldiers in the same unit as your brother. He was their commander, and they were some of his more
Did you say they were nobles or just horsemen?
They weren't nobles. These were just soldiers, well-trusted soldiers, and highly placed in the military, but not nobly ranked.
Oh, okay. See, I thought originally when they all arrived that it was, you said, 4 orcish noblemen.
Sorry, I should have said a nobleman, an orcish nobleman and his attendants. That is what I meant to say. I apologize.
That's okay.
I could do better.
Mistakes? Who makes them?
Me, all the damn time. Do you know my life story?
No, but I know Daniel's. I don't think we got to yours.
God. Good.
I guess I read your life story.
You read my 1,000-word essay about my life story.
Mm-hmm.
It was very cathartic for me to write that. I was in a bad place at the time. I needed to talk to somebody. So I wrote it all down. Thank you for being so patient. Sorry, I'm just making a couple notes so I don't reuse those names.
Uh-huh.
It's kind of nice though when we do ask some of the names and you're like, look at this stuff I created. Now you get to actually use it. Because if you really don't ask.
Oh yeah, I have lists of like soldiers in the Ituran and Modegan and Dwarvish, like all these things. So I have to like go through them. But unfortunately, I have like 800 names or some shit. I don't even remember what it was because I used like random generators so I could like easily. So I have like Ostith, male dwarf cleric, chaotic good, strength 12, dex 8, con 15, int 13, and then like has a narrow face with matted black hair and green eyes, wears leather armor and wields a mace and a dagger for like the dwarven thing because I was way more into details back then. And at this point I'm just like, Ambus Buck, a Turin soldier or a Turin horse soldier, you know, and like just like I love this is my favorite like kind of thing. Okay, so so he looks stricken. But also, like, he's got a job to do, and he informs you of their names and their affiliations. They were all in the same training unit. Your brother is one of the most highly regarded soldiers in all of the Turin Empire. He has proven himself in the past 5 years to be an incredible fighter, like one-on-one duelist, and he is a good tactical commander. He's never been given command of as large a force as the Dead Latch Guard, but he has the respect of the people who normally do command the Dead Latch Guard. And when the Emperor summoned a contingent of military personnel from Annalyn, he was sent to...
Okay. Is there, in the Duchy of Annalyn, is there any kind of, like, funeral rites or rituals that, like, Persephone would be like, this is the thing we need to do for these people who've died, or something like that?
There is, but the military takes care of their own dead, and they don't keep it like a secret what they do. She would know that. She would know that they would want to be returned as soon as possible to their military contingent to be given proper burial rites.
Had died, then the military would have...
No, because Tath is a noble. So noblemen take precedent over regular soldiers, and soldiers and military personnel take place over common folk.
Okay.
It's fairly egalitarian, especially in the Duchy of Annalyn, which is the second largest portion of the Turin Empire. Mm-hmm. But it is still hierarchical. Those who put themselves into military service are taken care of by the military, and it's not like...
it's more relational than... than hierarchical.
Right. It's a lot less compartmentalized than we have today. The military units were very, like, congenial. What do they call it? Everything's, like, communal. Like,
mm-hmm. Yeah. Which makes sense. Kind of like the Navy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So, do you guys want to... I mean, it's pretty late. I know you guys are getting pretty tired. It was pretty...
Oh, it's not even midnight.
Pretty drama-filled.
Yeah.
I got stuff to do. 3 hours. Hey, yeah, we did.
It's so cool. It was so much fun. We fought for a long time. Fighting always takes forever, and I love it.
We're getting much better about just go for it, though.
Yeah. If the mage elf hadn't tried to, like, rush past everybody, my next move or intention, because you end up thinking 12 steps ahead, and by the time it's your turn, you don't get to do the thing.
Mm-hmm. I've been thinking about ways to revise that, by the way. We'll see if I can... Yeah.
But was basically that Persephone is, like, so mad that, like, if he was the last, right, and she could break through his shield or whatever, I think she was pretty much to the point where she was going to, like, Mantle of Majesty.
Oh, shit.
And just be like, and I don't know if she possesses as much power, which would have been the question, but would have been, like, it wouldn't matter to her in that moment, like, not just one creature, but whatever's around her, and she would have been like, hold! You know, and just, like, and then kicked him over and, like, stepped on him.
Yeah.
And threatened him with her blade, and been like, who sent you? And what, you know, you killed my brother. And, you know, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. That was my intention.
That's pretty great. I like that plan. If I'd have known, I would have been happy to be part of it.
Well, I didn't know this was gonna happen.
I've been looking into a few different ways to do like initiative, and one of the things is that everybody says what they're gonna do at the top of the round.
Oh.
And they roll. They say like, "Hey, I want to attack," or like, "I want to attack with range," or "I want to prepare a spell and cast it." And you roll a die, and the lower you roll, the further up the initiative order you go. So you say like, "I want to move an attack," so you would roll a d4 for a regular melee attack. If you are like a ranged attack, you would roll a d6, so you're further down the initiative order, more likely, but you could still be pretty high. If you're like, "I want to prepare a spell," you say, "I roll like a d10 or 12 or 20, depending on the power of the spell." Like, I want to cast a really low-level spell, would be like a d10. So you could be, chances are, like, you could still be high in the like initiative order. So if you roll a 1, you could still be first if nobody else rolls a 1. But if you roll a 10, you have a greater chance of being further down the initiative order. But if you're like, "I'm going to prepare this campaign-ending spell, I'm going to use my wish spell this turn," I'd be like, "Roll a d20. And then whatever number you get every round, and I would roll for each player, or like each NPC or enemy, and be like, okay, you know, this is what they roll for each one. So it'd be set up into different like things, and then you would just do your regular roll to hit, roll for damage. It'd be weird.
That really doesn't make any sense to me, but
so like if you were gonna use like Valken, who's like he's got a really simple basic, I'm gonna run forward and attack. You'd like roll your d4, and you got 4. Okay, so somebody else is like, I'm gonna roll to, I'm gonna shoot my arrow at him. Okay, so they roll, and they get, what's that? 5. Okay, so you would go first in the initiative order. What happens is that your die determines where you land in the initiative order, and every turn you roll your initiative die based on your attack, like the type of attack, and then when it comes to your turn, everybody just rolls what they do, so that way you can go straight into the narrative. And everybody rolls all at once, and I say, you do this, so you run forward and slash with your axe, they raise their shield and block because you didn't hit them, and then Persephone turns and fires a bolt of eldritch energy, and this person turns with their arrow and shoots, you know, and so like, that way I can tell you everything that happens in a round, right? Because you guys like me describing all your actions anyway, which is fine with me, and I enjoy it as well.
I was going to say, that makes, it makes sense too, because I almost called it Persephone. What she was saying too.
It basically, like, the die thing is based off of complexity of attack, by the way.
Yeah. Well, but you were doing lower numbers is better.
Lower number puts you higher up on the initiative order, so it is like 1. You know.
1 is the fastest.
Right. 1 is the fastest. So, like, somebody rolling a d20 could still roll a 1 and be really high on the initiative order, or roll like a 5 and be really high on the initiative order. But if he rolls a 5, he still has no chance to beat somebody who's rolling a 1d4.
It would be faster, but it's not. It kind of loses its flair.
I don't know about that, because it creates like this ability to like chain things together instead of being like, oh, actually what happened was at the end of last one, Persephone used Green Flame Blade to shoot the fire across the other and like retroactively adding it in. You can do it all at once, and I can tell you everything that happens real fast. But it's not really about speed so much as allowing, like, this is what happens in 6 seconds of combat. It's like chaos, it's madness, it's everything's happening, and then we stop for a minute, we take 5 minutes, roll a couple of dice, everybody figures out when. Well, it takes 5 minutes for one person to decide what to do with their turn anyway.
That's an exaggeration.
We were in combat for almost an hour and a half, bro.
Yeah, but
we went 3 rounds and we were in combat for an hour and a half.
But if we were, but if you did it that way, there's no way that it would take a full 5 minutes for everyone to decide. Like, that's what I'm saying is the difference is this person takes 3 minutes, this person takes 2 minutes, this person takes 3 minutes, this person takes 2 minutes. Like all those times when they're separate turns, add up. But if you're like, oh, what do you do? That's probably everybody takes like 3 minutes total.
Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
Because you guys could also like determine like, hey, we all want to do this in advance, and like gives you a chance to like each and every person. It just depends on whether you guys want to try something like that. I don't know. It would be weird. It would be different. I don't know. It's based very loosely off of the combat complexity order from one of the other, like a D20 system. I don't remember what it's called, Blades in the Dark or something. But I like the idea of it. I like the idea of it all being like strung together because you guys very much often like interact with each other on the battlefield. Like, what did Faye just do? Oh, I casted fire up and I passed through her wall of fire and stuff. And I like that. And it would be very narratively satisfying to have you guys plan that out, see if those things are successful or failures, and then yeah, it's just interesting. It could be interesting. I don't know. There's another thing I wanted to ask about.
Is this a new kind of battle play?
Yeah.
It's an idea that I've been messing with.
Do all of our turns collectively as once. So instead of your turn, okay, this person does this person does this. We all just basically take turns all together. Like the whole entire battlefield.
So at the top of each combat round,
we rolled a who's going to go.
You would state, I'm going to, and it's the complexity of attack, like, I'm going to swing my sword at this enemy right in front of me. That would be a 1d4 initiative turn, and the lower number you get, the higher on the initiative turn you are.
The problem is
1d4 gives you a 1 in 4 chance of being like 1 through 4. If you roll a 10, because you're casting like a firebolt spell, because it's a much more complex magical moment than just swinging a sword. You have to like do the motions and say the words, so it's like a d10. So you do that, and then you can get a 1. You could be really fast with that spell. But if you get a 10, you get a 10. And if you get a 5, like there's almost double the chance that you won't beat somebody with a 1d4. So it's like Valken would turn into this really fast powerhouse of like, I just am running through the battlefield, like swinging my sword, And like that would be... And then at the top of the round, he would be like, okay, I'd say like, okay, you're going to go first, you second, you third, you fourth, this person, and I tell you when all the enemies are moving, and you'd say, okay, I'm going to roll to hit, I'm going to roll to hit, I'm going to roll to hit. If you hit or not, I'll tell you outright, and then you'll like roll damage if you do hit. So then I say, okay, you wanted to run up and hit with your sword, you wanted to shoot your bow, okay, so you swing your sword and kill this guy, you are shooting at the same person, and he's dead now, so you turn your bow to try and hit somebody else, but you miss because you were halfway through the arc, and then like I can pull it all together into like 1 6-second snippet of combat.
The only problem with that is that it would work best if if the enemies were grouped together and then the good guys are grouped together.
Yeah, that's how it would be. You guys would go first.
Because otherwise, like she said, the bad guy would do something that would change the plan.
Well, basically, also it gives me the freedom to only have to like, I don't have to roll to see what every single person's doing every single time. Because it would be literally like the initiative order would be you 4, what do you do? Mm-hmm. And then the enemies, what do they do? And then you 4, what do you do?
I kind of like the turn-basedness of it.
Mm-hmm. It gamifies it a lot.
Yeah.
But it's just an interesting idea.
We should try
going.
I have church tomorrow, and I have stuff to do for my trip.
For your trip.
I'm so excited.
For a couple of weeks
now.
Oh my goodness.
Oh man.
Mother back. You just find out what's going on with your family.
Bye.
I was gonna say.
So much fun on your trip.
When you come
Feel
back,
free to message us with your Wi-Fi, which I'm sure will be on the cruise ship if you want. Send us pictures and tell us everything.
Keep us posted in
I was
our
gonna
report.
say, let us know. Otherwise, we're not gonna even play. We're just gonna be like, tell us everything next time we see you.
Yeah.
We definitely need to get together before D&D night to just get it all out of our system.
Yeah, I agree.
Because otherwise we
all
will.
the pictures I'll want to show you probably, or, I don't know.
All of the above.
So, yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much. It was so much fun. I hope that it wasn't too horrible on you.
No.
It's a good story.
It's just going to be like the last episode where the Fae betrayal, it's like you gotta process.
And like, please God, don't be dead.
Calm the adrenaline.
I was really, really, really gonna leave him dead for the session, so you would have to like be gone for 2 weeks and then come back to have him be alive. But then I was like, have mercy, there's a moment for dramatic like grab here, and I was like, maybe he has a magic gauntlet that lets him. Yeah, that's a thing. Let's make it so. sounds good. I just made that up. He's got a magic armor. He's already got a armor of or a breastplate of revivify. So like, why not? Why not magical? He's a badass. He's probably got. Right?
It's very Sanderson.
It is. It's based off of Shardblade.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I know. Fuck off. All right.
Okay.
Drive safe.
Yes, see you
Message
guys.
us.
Yeah.
See ya.
Are we leaving?
I was gonna say that's one of the next ones I want you to read.
Oh.
The White Kings.
Yeah.
Oh man.
But part of me thinks that I should have her read the one I haven't read first because it's the correct order.
Nah, dude. There's no right order.
Yeah, you say that, but every single person that I talk to,
Oh shoot, we're still recording. We really did go 3 hours. 3 hours and 3 minutes.